Chapter 380. Here's what happened. White Fox's girlfriend, Shen Jingxian, used to be the son of Songning Martial Guild's vice president Shen Huanling. Qiao En's threw out his most ruthless move. In his opinion, the evidence was irrefutable. Moreover, the person involved in this matter, Vice President Shen Huanling, is also here. Vice President Shen, your son was killed by White Fox? Song Huawu looked at Shen Huanling and asked. That's right. Shen Huanling gritted his teeth. He wanted to kill White Fox anyway, so he had no choice but to support Qiao En's. What evidence do you have? Song Huawu asked. Of course I have evidence. Please take a look, team leader Song. As Shen Huanling spoke, he took out his phone and showed Song Huawu all the video evidence on it. Song Huawu looked at Shen Huanling and said, so you're saying that Shen Jinpeng wasn't the one who raped Shen Jingxian, so he must have been killed by White Fox? What kind of logic is that? There's no one else. Shen Huanling gritted his teeth. He's the biggest suspect, so I asked the Martial Guild's law enforcement hall to investigate him. Investigate him just because he's the biggest suspect? Song Huawu said coldly. Then I think that since you're framing someone else, you can forget about being a vice president. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau will investigate you. You're too selfish and you're abusing your power. I'll have my men take you away later. You. How dare you? Shen Huanling was furious. Because you're a scoundrel and distorting the facts, Song Huawu said indifferently. Team leader Song, isn't that against the rules? Qiao En's was about to explode. He was here to investigate White Fox, so how did he end up investigating Shen Huanling? It wasn't that he couldn't tell that Shen Huanling wanted to rely on him. He had also hinted that he would accept Shen Huanling. However, in the blink of an eye, Shen Huanling had become a prisoner and was about to be investigated. How could this be? How could he still establish his authority? Would he still want others to rely on him in the future? He was a young talent who was about to become the president of the Martial Guild. Is it in line with the rules for you to investigate the White Fox? Song Huawu asked. At least the current evidence points to White Fox, proving that Shen Jinpeng was killed by White Fox, Qiao En said. What evidence? The so-called evidence could only prove that Shen Jingxian was not raped by Shen Jinpeng. Were there any other facts? Why didn't I see it? And there's no sign of a White Fox here. How did you point that out? Song Huawu couldn't help but be amused. Qiao En's, can you be more realistic? If you can't investigate this matter, you can go back. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't need a law enforcement deacon like you. Team leader Song, I've already said that it's just a suspicion. Currently, he's the biggest suspect. That's undeniable. But do you mean that we have to stop him? Qiao En's expression was a little ugly. It's not an obstruction. Shen Jinpeng wasn't killed by White Fox at all. I've already been investigating this matter and there's already a result. I'm about to take action, but there's a problem in the middle, Song Huawu said. You investigated it? Was there a result? You're about to take action, and then there's a problem? Team leader Song, your excuse is hilarious enough. Why did you say that you're about to take action when I came to ask? And there's still a problem? Dare I ask what the problem is? Do you dare to say it openly in front of everyone? Qiao En's was also anxious. He came this time. If he couldn't find out the reason and left with his tail between his legs, then he would lose face when he returned to the warrior guild. So he directly shed all pretense of cordiality. Anyway, the law enforcement hall was managed by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, but the other departments of the warrior guild didn't have any direct relationship. At worst, he could just go back and transfer to another department. She wouldn't be able to target him then. But now, he absolutely couldn't back down. Otherwise, how would Shen Huanling, who had just defected, look at him? How would the other competitors of the president of the warrior guild look at him? So even if he had to argue with Song Huawu, he had to get to the bottom of this matter. Of course, it's not a big deal. Song Huawu said. Otherwise, you'll think that I'm just brushing you off. Well, if that's the case, then show me the evidence. Let me see what it is. Xiao En said. Song Huawu took out her mobile phone, dialed a number, and said to the other side. Bring me all the investigation information on Qin Jinpeng's death. Not long after, two of Song Huawu's subordinates, who were also members of Team C, came to the office. They were holding a laptop in their hands. In front of everyone, the laptop was turned on, and a surveillance video was played on it. The video showed the entrance of Tsilu Street 18, where Qin Jinpeng's Land Rover was. After Qin Jinpeng parked the car, a man got in the car. Then, the car vibrated a few times, and the man got out of the car and quickly left. Everyone knew what this man did. He must have gotten in the car and killed Qin Jinpeng. After that, until Shen Zhenghao and Chen Huanling appeared at the door of the villa, no one got out of Qin Jinpeng's car, nor did anyone get in. In this way, the suspect could only be the person who got in and got out of the car. Li Shanying. Shen Huanling's eyes were about to burst into flames. He did not expect that the real murderer who killed his son was actually Li Shanying. But why? Why did Li Shanying kill Qin Jinpeng? What was the reason? Li Shanying killed Qin Jinpeng? Xiao En's face immediately changed. He never thought that he would find out that Li Shanying was a murderer when he came to investigate the cause of Li Shanying's death. To say that White Fox killed Li Shanying was actually in line with the rules. At the summit, life and death were not counted. If you died, it could only be said that you were not skilled enough. However, killing people in the secular world was against the rules of martial arts. Why did you assassinate Qin Jinpeng for no reason? Yes, so you should have seen it. Originally, after I investigated, I planned to control Li Shanying. However, because of the summit, we suspended the action and planned to do it after the summit. Who would have thought that Li Shanying would die at the summit? This is what I call an accident. Song Huawu said, now you understand why I said that it had nothing to do with White Fox, right? This. Xiao En's was really speechless. He looked at Shen Huanling with some resentment. F***ck your mother. White Fox helped you to avenge Li Shanying's death, so he's your family's benefactor. Yet you jumped out and spouted nonsense. In the end, I was bewitched by you and thought that White Fox was the one who killed Qin Jinpeng. I even helped you to avenge him, but in the end, I got slapped in the face. And it was a slap. He thought that the final trump card was the cause of Qin Jinpeng's death. Who would have thought that it would become a joke? Deacon Xiao, do you have anything else to say? Song Huawu asked. No. Xiao En smiled bitterly. His smile was uglier than crying. He really did not have the face to stay here anymore. He hated Shen Huanling to the core. He looked at him and said angrily, Chen Huanling, take the blame and resign. I don't want to see you again. Ah, Deacon Xiao, this. I was also kept in the dark. I didn't know before. Chen Huanling was a little confused. Humph. It's fine if you don't resign, but you can solve this matter for me. Xiao En snorted and got up to leave. Now, he could not continue investigating White Fox no matter what unless someone stronger pushed for it or he obtained more absolute evidence. However, for now, he had neither, so he could only leave with his tail between his legs. Shen Huanling was a little sluggish. He looked at Chu Jingbian and said carefully, President Chu, let's go back first. Chu Jingbian also expected better from Chen Huanling. This guy was so disgraceful that even the Songning Martial Guild was disgraceful. Then, Chu Jingbian looked at Song Huawu and Hong Zhu and said, Team Leader Song, Miss Hong, we will take our leave first, let's go. This Chen Huanling has evil intentions. I will have someone investigate him. Song Huawu said indifferently. Don't. Chen Huanling staggered and nearly fell to the ground to his death. If he was investigated, he would lose a layer of skin even if he did not die. Although he might not have done anything major, he still sought some benefits for the Qin family. If this was investigated, he would definitely lose his position as vice president. However, Song Huawu did not look at him. Chu Jingbian pulled Shen Huanling away and left the summit office with his tail between his legs. When these people left the office, Song Huawu also planned to leave. However, she was stopped by Hong Zhu. Song Huawu, wait. I have something to talk to you about. Song Huawu was slightly taken aback. She looked at Hong Zhu. Talk to me? What is it? Speak. Let's find a place with no one around, Hong Zhu said. Elder Wang, don't the two of us still have things to do? Let's go, we have something to do. Elder Su stood up and said in a very sensible manner. Elder Wang nodded. He was naturally aware that Hong Zhu had something to say behind their backs. Therefore, he left together with Elder Su. After they left, Song Huawu said, Can you speak now? Yes, you know Xiao Chen. Hong Zhu suddenly asked. Song Huawu was taken aback. Her expression changed slightly. However, she soon smiled and asked, You know him too, right? Hee hee, same to you. No wonder, Hong Zhu said with a smile. Yeah, no wonder you didn't oppose me this time, Song Huawu said. If you keep talking about Xiao Chen in the future, I definitely won't oppose you, Hong Zhu said. You like him? You're the one who likes him. Song Huawu glared at Hong Zhu. Yeah, I like him. Otherwise, how could I have made him help me kill Li Shanpao and Li Shanying? Hong Zhu said with a grin. Chapter 381. Shameless. Song Huawu snorted. Demonic witch. Arrogant. Did you ask him to kill him? He did it for his girlfriend, didn't he? I did it too. Hong Zhu looked at Song Huawu with a smile. What, are you jealous? Who's jealous of you? I'm his deskmate, Song Huawu said. Oh. Hong Zhu suddenly realized. Team leader Song, you're playing a school romance game now. And you're saying you don't like it? I'm investigating a case, Song Huawu said. Whatever you say. Hong Zhu looked like he didn't believe her. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Song Huawu was a little speechless. Go. People with a guilty conscience leave quickly, Hong Zhu said. Are you crazy? I won't leave then. Let's see if you'll leave. Song Huawu sat there and didn't move. I won't leave either. Hong Zhu sat opposite Song Huawu, and the two stared at each other. After a while, Song Huawu started playing with her phone. Hong Zhu was bored and started singing, You're my little Hong Zhu. No matter how smart you are, it's never too much, You're my little Huawu. No matter how smart you are, it's never too much. Song Huawu also sang. When they returned to the warrior guild, Qiao En's immediately left. Chu Jingbian didn't know where Qiao En's went, but he didn't dare to ask. When they returned to the office, Chen Huanling's tears and snot were all over his face. He kept holding on to Chu Jingbian, hoping that he could come up with some ideas. President Chu, I was just muddle-headed. Now, not only have I offended Song Huawu, but I've also offended Qiao En's. What do you think I should do? Chen Huanling looked at Chu Jing with tears in his eyes. Aren't you reaping what you sow? Chu Jingbian was also a little angry. Why did you get involved? Now you're in trouble, aren't you? She didn't care about you at all, and now she wants you to resign. Aren't you asking for trouble? Yesterday, I told you not to provoke the white fox. The truth might not be so. Look, Deacon Xiao is probably thinking that you're an ungrateful person who knew about the situation and deliberately hid it from you. That's right. But I really don't know. Chen Huanling said with a bitter face, President Chu, you know me. I've always been on your side. You can't just ignore me this time. I've done my best to help you, so please help me, help me. The Qin family can't do without me, the vice president. Otherwise, the Qin family will be finished. Sigh. Chu Jingbian felt pity for Chen Huanling when he saw him like this. Chen Huanling was right. Although what he did wasn't very proper, Chen Huanling had always been very obedient. Among the vice presidents of the warrior guild, he was the closest to Chu Jingbian. Thinking of this, Chu Jingbian hesitated for a moment before saying, "Like I said last time, don't you have an illegitimate son? See if you can let him acknowledge his ancestors. That way, your Chen family won't be without descendants, and your status will be guaranteed, but will they care about me?" Chen Huanling's expression was a little painful. "If I'm heartlessly rejected, where do you think I'll put my old face? If you don't want to try, then there's nothing I can do. You know, although I'm the president of the Songning Warrior Guild, you're the vice president. I don't have much say in your appointment and dismissal. Now, the pressure from Xiao Ens is a small matter. After all, this is only an internal problem of the Warrior Guild. When the time comes, I'll put in a good word for you. I'm afraid there won't be too much of a problem." Chu Jingbian said, "But if the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wants to deal with you, you know the consequences. Those people can interfere as long as it's a warrior's matter. Why did you offend Song Huawu for no reason?" Sigh. Chen Huanling sighed. "I'll think about it and discuss it with my father, all right, but for the time being, before the dust settles, you should rest at home. Don't come to the Warrior Guild," Chu Jingbian said. "This is also a kind of protection for you." "I understand." Chen Huanling left the Warrior Guild dejectedly. Xiao Ens was also very sullen. He did not expect to have such a bad start. When he returned to the hotel, he immediately called his father, Xiao Gao. "Ens, how is it? Did the investigation come to a conclusion?" Xiao Gao's voice was very relaxed. After all, in his opinion, this kind of matter only needed to come to a conclusion and then let White Fox suffer a little. As for killing White Fox, Xiao Ens did not have that ability. What the Warrior Guild wanted was a result that could make the Colorful Li family stop. Therefore, this mission seemed difficult, but it was actually very simple. "Dad, there's a problem," Xiao En said. He explained the situation and then took the initiative to apologize. "I was reckless." "Oh." Xiao Gao frowned. He did not expect Hongzhu and Song Huawu to obstruct him. It seemed that things were not going to be easy to handle. After thinking for a while, he said, "Actually, this matter is not your fault. There are too many problems. I did not expect that Li Shanin to be the murderer of Qin Jinpeng. This is a vicious cycle. How about this, don't be in a hurry to close the case. Write a detailed report and submit it. The Colorful Li family has seen what Li Shanin did, so they will not force you to close the case as soon as possible. After all, they are also in the wrong. You can stay in Songning City for a while. If there is a chance, continue the investigation. If there is no chance, I guess it will be left unsettled. But, if it is left unsettled, will it affect my reputation? When the time comes, people will think that I am incompetent and can't investigate anything." Xiao Ens was a little worried. "Didn't you say to wait for the opportunity?" Xiao Gao said, "But don't expect the Warrior Guild to send experts to suppress that White Fox. After all, he is from the Demonic Star sect, not a rogue cultivator. You are going against the Demonic Star sect and the Demonic sect. The best way is to wait for the summit to end, then think of a way to see if there are other breakthroughs." "I understand. In this period of time, I will visit the Qing family first?" Xiao Ens thought for a while and asked. "Yes, but between you and Qing Menjing, it's okay to play, but forget about it." "I've already arranged a marriage for you," Xiao Gao said. "Oh? Who is it?" Xiao Ens was stunned. "You will know in the future. Right now, it is still in the midst of negotiations, so it is better for you not to know. Just focus on your work." When Xiao Gao said this, he couldn't help but feel a little proud. The higher-ups might let me take over the position of the Warrior Guild's executive vice president. If I really succeed, then our Qiao family will surpass the Colorful Li family. So, after this period of delay, if I successfully take over, not only will there be no problem with your marriage, but the colorful Li family will also not make things difficult for you. They will lay low and bear with Li Shan-ying's matter. Ah. Really? There is news already? Xiao En's was instantly overjoyed. As long as his father could take the position of the Warrior Guild's executive vice president, then as long as he stabilized this position in the future, his strength would rise steadily. At that time, he could definitely fight for the position of vice president or president. Because at that time, his father should be able to be promoted to the position of elder and enter the Elder Council. That would be the ultimate peak of power in the Warrior Guild. Currently, the reason why the colorful Li family was so powerful was because they had an elder who was still in the Elder Council. However, it was said that because he had been injured in his early years, his health was not particularly good. In other words, he would be passing away in a few years, so the colorful Li family would not make things too difficult for the Qiao family. Yes, so ends, you don't have to worry too much. Just do your own things, Xiao Gao said. Alright, I understand. Xiao En's happily hung up the phone. In his heart, he was thinking about how to use this matter to persuade old Master Cheng to let Qing Menjing become his concubine. Of course, this concubine was a legitimate concubine. In the world of martial artists, ancient martial arts customs were maintained. So, it was very normal to marry a wife and take a concubine. After returning home, Xiaochen did not directly go to the Jing family's martial arts dojo. Instead, he rested in his room. However, while resting, he received a call from Hongzhu. Hongzhu? Xiaochen picked up the phone. Xiaochen, I have something to tell you. Hongzhu said, just now, someone from the law enforcement hall came to the headquarters of the Warrior Guild. His name is Qiao En's. He is investigating you. What? Qiao En's investigated me? Is he retarded? He is my former classmate. Why would he investigate me? Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. This person clearly knew his background, so why would he investigate him? Did he have amnesia or something? Pfft, he is your classmate. Hongzhu was suddenly stunned. It can't be so coincidental, right? What I mean is that he is investigating your other identity, the White Fox, not Xiao Chen's identity. Oh, if that's the case, then why is he investigating the White Fox? Xiao Chen finally understood. It turned out that he was investigating the White Fox, not him. There are 3 reasons, but the main reason is that you killed Li Shannying. Hongzhu explained the 3 reasons to Xiao Chen, including the fact that Chen Jinpeng was killed by Li Shannying. This surnamed Chen doesn't know how to thank me for avenging Chen Jinpeng, and even tried to frame me. He deserves to be suspended. After listening, Xiao Chen could not help but say, then, did Xiao En's give up just like that? I don't know, but there is no point in continuing to investigate, unless he sends experts to take coercive measures against you, but it should not be possible. Hongzhu said, he doesn't have the ability or the need to do so. Oh, I was wondering why this person suddenly appeared in Songning City. So, he came because of me. Xiao Chen nodded, a bit of precaution in his heart. Alright, that's all I'm telling you. Song Huawu may call you again in a while. Let me tell you, you should be careful of her. Her background is a bit complicated, so don't get too close to her. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. Hongzhu reminded. Chapter 382. Isn't your background even more complicated? The little princess of the Hong Chamber of Commerce? Xiao Chen said. Which one of you isn't complicated? You know. Did Yi Baiya tell you? Hongzhu was taken aback for a moment before guessing. I'm fine. You can pursue me as you please. I'm single right now. Forget it. I already have a girlfriend, Xiao Chen said. But my fiancé was killed by you. Shouldn't you compensate me a little? Hongzhu suddenly countered with a question. Your fiancé? Who? Xiao Chen was slightly taken aback. What a mess. Your fiancé is Li Shannying? Or Leng Youxiang? He had only killed 2 people recently, and one of them was related to Hongzhu. But Hongzhu didn't seem to care about it. Why would he inform him? Li Shandiao, also known as Li Shanpao, Hongzhu said. Do you remember now? Oh. It's him. Xiao Chen finally remembered. He had heard that Li Shanpao had a very powerful fiancée, but he hadn't met her and thought that it was fine. He didn't expect it to be Hongzhu. His family is so weak. You are the princess of the Hong Chamber of Commerce, why did you marry him? It was decided when the colorful Li family was at its peak. At that time, the leader of the colorful Li family was the president of the Warrior Guild, who is also one of the current elders of the Elders Guild. But he's about to die, Hongzhu said. Besides, the Xiao family is so weak. Why did you get engaged to the Qing family? There must be some historical reason. Oh. Xiao Chen nodded. He suddenly thought of something. That night, the female assassin was you? It was me. Xiao Chen did not expect Hongzhu to admit to it so straightforwardly. Originally, I was thinking that even if I, Hongzhu, do not like it, my fiancé cannot be casually killed by others. So, I came to you to test things out. And then I found out that I did something good for you. Xiao Chen suddenly realized that he seemed to have become the fiancé killer. Stealing other people's fiancés. Li Shanpao and Li Shaning were like that, and so were Chen Jinkuan and Chen Jinpeng. Good my ass, shouldn't you compensate me a little? Hongzhu said. How are you going to compensate me? I can't compensate you with me, Xiao Chen said. In your dreams. If you marry me, your status in the Hong family's Chamber of Commerce will rise exponentially. If our Hong family works hard, you will be able to become the president of the Warrior Guild. Hongzhu curled his lips. You still haven't reached my standards. Work hard and let me see. Forget it. I'll work hard to help you make money, Xiao Chen said. That's exactly what I mean. If you help me earn some money, we'll be even. Hongzhu said with a nod. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Chen was about to pack up and head to the Jing family martial arts dojo when his phone rang again. It was Song Huawu. With a wry smile, Xiao Chen picked up the phone. Song Huawu, what's up? You're not going to tell me about Hongzhu, are you? How did you know? Song Huawu was slightly taken aback, but immediately understood. By the way, your phone has been busy just now. It can't be that she called you, right? Let me tell you, you have to be careful when dealing with her. She's a demoness who eats people without spitting out the bones. Don't rush up to her just because she's pretty. She's scarier than Yi Xiaoya. Xiao Chen didn't know what to say. Why was it that in Song Huawu's eyes, Hongzhu seemed to be a demoness who ate people without spitting out the bones? Previously, Yi Xiaoya had also described Hongzhu in the same way. However, Yi Xiaoya didn't seem to be scary at all. What? I'm saying something nice to you. Listen. Song Huawu said. Do you know Hongzhu's real identity? Her background is very complicated. She's the granddaughter of the Hong family's Chamber of Commerce, and her position in the Devil Sect isn't low either. She's a popular candidate for the next Devil Sect saintess. Don't provoke her, or you won't even know how you died. Oh. Xiao Chen replied. What's wrong with you? Did you listen to me? Song Huawu asked. I listened. Xiao Chen said. Then what did you say? Song Huawu was a little depressed. Hongzhu said that your background is more complicated and told me to stay away from you. Who should I listen to? Xiao Chen said with a bitter smile. Her. She's lying to you. I don't have any background. I'm just the deputy leader of Team C, Song Huawu said. I don't have a shocking background like her. That's why I'm not going to listen to anyone. That's it. Xiao Chen said. Do whatever you want. However, you have to pay attention to that Xiao En's. Hongzhu should have already told you, right? I know this person. His father has a high position in the Warrior Guild. I'm afraid he won't let this go. Song Hua Wu reminded him. After you attend the summit, disappear for a while. Don't let anyone get hold of you. I understand. Xiao Chen nodded. The warrior guild still cares about this kind of thing? Do they have nothing better to do? It's just that Li Shaning's background is more powerful. In short, it's not a big mistake to be careful. Song Hua Wu said. Okay, I understand. Xiao Chen responded. However, he was not too worried. At most, the identity of White Fox would remain silent for a while. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Chen drank the decocted medicinal liquid and trained for a while. After the medicinal effect had taken effect, he bid farewell to the eldest miss and went to the Jing family dojo. Today was also the last day of the Songning summit. Xiao Chen sat in his previous seat. Yi Xiaoya also arrived at this time. Hey, you went out early in the morning. Why are you only back now? Yi Xiaoya asked. Something came up. How was it today? Did anyone cause trouble for you at the summit? Xiao Chen asked. He was afraid that Lang Youxiang's accomplices would cause trouble for Yi Xiaoya. Not really. Besides, I was in my room the whole day. Who would cause trouble for me? Yi Xiaoya said. You didn't cause trouble again, did you? Not really. It's just that the warrior guild has investigated me for killing Li Shaning yesterday. Xiao Chen said. Why should I? Yi Xiaoya asked back. One of Li Shaning's elders is from the warrior guild headquarters. Anyway, the relationship is a little messy, but it doesn't matter. Xiao Chen shook his head. For the time being, there's nothing to worry about. Song Hua Wu blocked him. Oh. Yi Xiaoya nodded. After the summit, hide for a while. Appear again when the limelight is over. I think so too. After the summit, I plan to seize the time to practice for a while. Can I find you? Xiao Chen asked. Yi Xiaoya glared at Xiao Chen. Naturally, she knew what he was thinking. But the matter of dual cultivation was also very beneficial to Yi Xiaoya. It was just that it was a little awkward for the two of them to practice together. Especially Yi Xiaoya's mental cultivation method was of the fire attribute. If she practiced the mental cultivation method too fast, it would cause her clothes to spontaneously burn. At that time, Xiao Chen would take advantage of her eyes. But thinking about it, it was not the first time that he saw it, so Yi Xiaoya said, we'll talk about it when the time comes. The competition of the summit began. The rules were the same as yesterday, and the challengers were randomly selected. After several rounds of competition, Yi Xiaoya entered the arena. Her opponent was a warrior of the Tang family of Zhenwu who was at the peak of level 5 internal force strength. He was from the Tang family of Zhenwu, which was the main family of Tang's family. If Yi Xiaoya fought with the martial artist of the Tang family at the peak of the 5th level, the victory would be 50-50. But now, after the dual cultivation with Xiao Chen, Yi Xiaoya had reached the strength of the devil cultivator at the 6th level of internal force. She could easily suppress her opponent. Sure enough, Yi Xiaoya won the final victory. In fact, there was no suspense. After Yi Xiaoya came back, Xiao Chen congratulated her. Are you praising me or insulting me? I'm not proud of defeating a martial artist at the peak of the 5th level of internal force. Yi Xiaoya smiled helplessly and said, it's all thanks to my breakthrough. Otherwise, it's hard to say who would be the winner. Xiao Chen nodded. The rules of the competition were not very reasonable. But in the world of martial artists, there was no such thing as fair and reasonable. The next match, challenger number 17, representing the Devil's Sect, White Fox, versus challenger number 2, Yu Danding. Whoosh, the audience was in an uproar. They hadn't expected the White Fox to fight again. At this time, everyone remembered that the White Fox's 2 matches yesterday were arranged battles and not randomly drawn by the officials. And now, the White Fox's opponent was the second strongest of the summit, Yu Danding. In the eyes of these people, this battle would definitely be very exciting. After all, the White Fox's skills were so powerful yesterday. Even Li Shanning and Lan Youxiang had died at the hands of the White Fox. Today, it would still be a battle between experts. If White Fox's opponent was a 5th-level inner force martial artist, or if Yu Danding's opponent was a 5th-level inner force martial artist, there would be no meaning in this match because there was no suspense in the outcome. But now, everyone was full of anticipation. Xiao Chen was also a little surprised. He did not expect to face Yu Danding, but he still got up and jumped into the arena. On the other side, Yu Danding also walked into the arena. He was a person who looked similar to Yu Shaochuan. After he came up, his eyes were fixed on Xiao Chen. A moment later, to everyone's surprise, Yu Danding said, "I admit defeat." Everyone below the ring was stunned, including Xiao Chen himself. He had not expected Yu Danding to admit defeat right away. Furthermore, he had done it so cleanly and decisively. He had not even tested it before spitting out those 3 words. In fact, Yu Danding had his own considerations. Like Li Shanning and Lan Youxiang, he was a person of status. He was the most likely person to become the leader of the martial arts world in the next few decades. The leader of the righteous sects was called the leader of the martial arts world. His status was equivalent to the leader of the devil's sect, so Yu Danding would not risk his life. Chapter 383. In the current Jianghu of the secular world, there were 4 publicly recognized top organizations, all of which were targets that all martial artists strive to reach. There were the leaders of the martial arts world of the orthodox sects, the leader of the demonic sects, the president of the warrior guild, and the president of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. Of course, the last one was hereditary, and outsiders had no chance. However, they were recognized as the 4 most powerful people in Wulin. Of course, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was also very powerful, and they even governed all the martial artists in the secular world. However, this organization was an official organization, and they rarely participated in the fights of the martial arts world. They would only take action when one side violated the rules. Therefore, when Li Shanning and Lan Youxiang died at the hands of the White Fox last night, Yu Danding secretly prayed that he would not run into an opponent like the White Fox. However, he did not expect his luck to be so good today. The more he did not want to run into an opponent, the more he ran into one. However, he quickly made a decision, and that was to admit defeat. He could not see through White Fox. Although his strength might be similar to his, at the peak of Stage 8 inner force, it was a fact that he was stronger than Lan Youxiang. Yu Danding knew that he was no match for Lan Youxiang, so he was even less of a match for White Fox. Therefore, he chose to admit defeat cleanly. "Thank you for letting me win." Xiao Chen instantly understood the reason and secretly thanked his luck. Otherwise, even if he could have won, it would not have been easy. After all, his strength was similar to Yu Danding's. If he wanted to win, he would probably have had to use some of the techniques of a cultivator. In this match, challenger number 2, Yu Danding, admitted defeat, so challenger number 17, White Fox, wins. Elder Su announced. He was the happiest. The demonic sects were powerful, and he also felt proud. Based on the current development, the demonic sects were undoubtedly going to win. Xiao Chen raised his hands and accepted the cheers of the victors below the stage. Although this victory had come too easily, on second thought, it was also because he had revealed his strength yesterday that he could win so easily today. Shen Jingshuan's mood was a little complicated. Looking at Xiao Chen on the stage, she knew that Xiao Chen had gradually reached the peak of his life. At least in Songning City, he rarely had opponents. He was no longer the useless Xiao Chen of the past. At that time, he didn't cherish him and didn't like him. Now that he was so dazzling, there must be countless people who liked him. Faintly sighing, Qing Menjiang was a bit confused. "Jingxian, why are you unhappy? The White Fox won, and it was so easy. You should be happy." "What does my happiness have to do with me?" Shen Jingxian said faintly. She didn't know why, but it seemed that the estrangement between her and Xiao Chen was getting worse. "Since you have chosen him, don't think too much. I think at least he is much better than Chen Jingquan and Chen Jinpeng, right?" Qing Menjing smiled and explained, besides, which man is not a playboy? Isn't Xiaochen the same? He used to pursue you and Kerlin in front of me. What could I do? Didn't I still have to accept it? Now he is very close to Tang Tang, and sometimes he is even with Yi Xiaoya. What can I do? Apart from accepting it, I have to accept it, right? That's true. Shen Jingxian was annoyed with Xiaochen. Wasn't the example that Qing Menjing used to refer to the white fox himself? However, Shen Jingshuan's mood was a lot better. At least, the first person that Xiaochen liked might be her. By the way, why is the white fox wearing different clothes than he did at noon? Wasn't he wearing a white coat before? Qing Menjing was a little puzzled. Who knows? It's hot, so he took it off. Shen Jingxian naturally knew that the white coat was bought by Xiao Chen at noon to prevent others from seeing what he was really wearing, so he put it on at the last minute. He must have taken it off and thrown it away afterward. It would be strange if he still had it now. Oh. Qing Menjing nodded. Handsome, so handsome. Yu Xiaochuan was cheering for the white fox. Are you crazy? Yu Danding is your cousin, and you are cheering for the white fox? Tang Tang was a little puzzled by Yu Xiaochuan's behavior. In her opinion, Yu Xiaochuan seemed to have a little problem with his brain. Perhaps he was stimulated, so he always did things that were different from ordinary people. Zhu Yingxiong was also a little puzzled. Why did Yu Xiaochuan admire Xiaochen so much? But this was good. He heard that his boss liked Tang Tang. If Yu Xiaochuan worshipped the white fox, it would be a good thing for him to give his woman to the white fox. So Zhu Yingxiong said, Big brother is right. The white fox is really handsome. Big brother, you have to keep an eye on sister-in-law. Don't let her fall in love with the white fox and abandon you. If that's the case, I have no regrets. Yu Xiaochuan laughed. Tang Tang frowned. What did Yu Xiaochuan mean? He had been trying to get information from her in the past 2 days. It seemed that he wanted her to have a relationship with the white fox. Why was he so disgusting? Could it be that in order to please the white fox, he had sacrificed himself? Tang Tang couldn't imagine it. She didn't think that Yu Xiaochuan was such a pervert before, but now the more she looked at him, the more she thought it was possible. On the other side, Lu Zhenming was also a little excited. He said to Jing Xiaokuan, the white fox is so awesome that his opponent directly admitted defeat? Although it's pretty awesome, it also reduces the number of fights. By the way, what's the strength of that Yu Danding? Why is he so weak that he directly admitted defeat? The peak of stage 8 inner force. Jing Xiaokuan rolled his eyes. This was strength that he didn't even dare to think about before, but now he could only admit defeat. What? The peak of stage 8 inner force? Lu Zhenming was a little dumbfounded. Then why did he admit defeat? Yesterday, the white fox killed a demonic cultivator at the peak of stage 8 inner force. What do you think? Jing Xiaokuan rolled his eyes and said, I know what you're thinking, but you'd better save it for a nobody like you. The white fox may not be in the mood to deal with you. I have to try. Lu Zhenming hesitated for a moment. This was an opportunity for the Lu family, and he naturally wouldn't give it up easily. Do you think the white fox will drive me away if I go there now? I don't know. If you want to try, then go ahead. Jing Xiaokuan said that, but whether the white fox would hate Lu Zhenming or not, that had little to do with him. Shen Zhenghao was still sitting with LV Fengzhen today, but on the other side of LV Fengzhen sat the president of the Songning Warrior Guild, Chu Zhengbian. LV Fengzhen already knew about what happened yesterday and today, and Shen Zhenghao also knew about it. Shen Zhenghao's feelings were a little complicated. He did not expect that the white fox would provoke the warrior guild even though she had made a name for herself. This was something that Shen Zhenghao did not want to see. He was a little hesitant now. He did not know if Xiao Ens would continue to take coercive measures after he returned. After all, if he took extreme measures, he was also afraid that the Shen family would be implicated. Chen Huanling, that bastard, added oil to the fire and embroiled the Shen family in it. How could this guy be so shameless? However, he was also unwilling to draw a line between Shen Jingxian and the white fox. Risk and reward coexisted, and he could see that the white fox had potential. Old LV, President Chu, will the white fox be in danger? If the matter is really settled by the warrior guild, will they take coercive measures against him, such as capturing him back? Shen Zhenghao asked worriedly. That won't happen. As long as he doesn't violate some specific rules, such as attacking ordinary people in the secular world for no reason, using force to commit crimes, and so on, the warrior guild won't interfere with other matters. For such controversial matters, unless the White Fox's sect agrees, they won't dare to touch the people of the Demonic Star sect, President Chu explained. President Chu was a neutral person. Although he was promoted by Qiao En's father, he wouldn't offend others for the sake of Qiao Gao, especially a person with a strong background like the White Fox. Today, he vaguely felt that there was a deeper meaning behind LV Fengzhen asking him to sit beside him. It was also a warning. Given LV Fengzhen's status, it was abnormal for him to sit with Shen Zhenghao. All of this showed that LV Fengzhen and the White Fox knew each other and supported the White Fox. This way, no matter how stupid Chu Jingbian was, he would know that he wouldn't be too involved in the White Fox's matters. I see. That's a relief. Shen Zhenghao heaved a sigh of relief. In his opinion, the Demonic Star sect would never give up on an outstanding disciple like the White Fox because of such a small matter, unless there was something wrong with the Demonic Star sect. President Chu, are you free later? How about the three of us have a meal together tonight? That's not a problem for me, but it depends on old man Lu's schedule. Chu Jingbian didn't dare to be careless in front of LV Fengzhen. LV Fengzhen was a person of great status, while he was just a junior. Sure, let's have a simple meal then. LV Fengzhen nodded. He had always been supporting the White Fox. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to a meal just because someone invited him. Shen Zhenghao was overjoyed. He had never thought that one day he would have a meal with the two big shots, Chu Jingbian and LV Fengzhen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have married into the Qin family. Wasn't it because of Chen Huanling's position as the vice president? Now, LV Fengzhen, who was even more powerful, could eat at the same table. Even if LV Fengzhen didn't directly help him, he could still brag about this matter. Lu Zhenming waited for the White Fox to leave the arena before he tiptoed over to the White Fox and Yi Xiaoya's seats. White Fox hero, oh, Lu Zhenming. What's the matter? Xiao Chen glanced at Lu Zhenming and asked. Chapter 384. Ah. White Fox hero, do you know me? You even know my name? Lu Zhenming was surprised, and suddenly he was happy. What's going on? White Fox hero actually knows me. Oh, I heard Jingxian talk about you. Xiao Chen said faintly, do you have something to say? Yes, yes. Lu Zhenming said quickly, that, I don't know if White Fox hero is accepting a younger brother. What do you think of me? Pfft. Xiao Chen didn't expect Lu Zhenming to be so shameless and straightforward. Was there a need to say it directly if he wanted to be someone's younger brother? Ugh, haha, I'm a straightforward person. White Fox hero, please don't misunderstand. I really want to be your younger brother because I admire you so much. I think you are my idol. Lu Zhenming said in a disgusting manner. Oh, but I heard that you seem to have a boss in school, named Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen asked. Hey. Lu Zhenming was shocked. This White Fox hero seems to know everything. He actually knows about my school. But thinking about it, White Fox hero was Shen Jingshuan's boyfriend. Shen Jingxian and Cheng Menjing were like one person. Shen Jingxian would naturally mention Cheng Menjing's ex-fiancé, Xiao Chen. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that White Fox hero knew about these things. But he still quickly denied it. That was actually just a joke. It's fake. How can I casually recognize a boss? After all, I'm also a member of the Songning Lu family. Only a heroic person like White Fox hero can be my boss. Oh, Xiao Chen is my little brother. Originally, I thought you were his little brother. In that case, you're barely my little brother. Since it's just a joke, don't be an eyesore here. Hurry up and scram, Xiao Chen said with a sneer. Quack. Lu Zhenming was shocked again. What? Xiao Chen is Hero White Fox's little brother. When did that happen? *CK, I misunderstood, so I hurriedly said, no, what I mean is, Xiao Chen is indeed my boss, but he seems to think that it's just a joke, so he doesn't take it seriously, but I am serious. Oh. Xiao Chen nodded. I see. Then, do I count as your little brother now? Lu Zhenming waited for a long time, but he didn't see Xiao Chen say anything. He just said that he understood. What did that mean? He was a little annoyed at himself for talking too much. Since the White Fox swordsman had already investigated, why didn't he tell the truth? He was now in a very passive position. Follow Xiao Chen for a period of time. I'll see how you perform. If you perform well, I'll take you in, Xiao Chen said calmly. Okay. Then I'll go back now. Boss White Fox, I'll leave first. Lu Zhenming was very excited. It seemed that White Fox had finally relented, which meant that he still had hope. After Lu Zhenming left, Yi Xiaoye was a little puzzled. You know Xiao Chen? Yes, you know him too. Xiao Chen asked calmly. He lives with me in a villa. As Yi Xiaoye said this, she suddenly thought of something. Oh, yes, since that person taught you the dark flame palm, then it's not too strange that you know Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen didn't understand what Yi Xiaoye was talking about, but he didn't want to ask in detail. He was afraid that the fact that he was Xiao Chen would be exposed, so he could only reply, that's good. When the time comes, I'll find you for dual cultivation and ask him to help. Don't. Yi Xiaoye was shocked. It's better not to let him know. What's wrong? Xiao Chen couldn't help but be stunned. Nothing. Yi Xiaoye shook her head as if she was somewhat conflicted. What's going on? You seem to be hiding something from me? Xiao Chen asked curiously. Everyone has a little secret. Don't ask. Yi Xiaoye hesitated and said, White Fox, it's impossible for anything to happen between you and me, so don't have any illusions about me. If we cultivate together, then we cultivate together. Whatever you see, you have to forget it. Do you understand? Otherwise, it's not good for you and me. That's how it is. Xiao Chen nodded. And I also have a girlfriend, so it's all misunderstood. Whether it's a misunderstanding or not, that's your business. I don't care, but you have to remember what I said to you. Yi Xiaoye reminded. Okay. Xiao Chen agreed readily. At the Righteous and Demonic Songming Summit, the normal challenge competition had ended. Next was the challenge segment. As the saying goes, take revenge if you have a grudge. Everyone had the chance to challenge others. Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoye were both sitting in the challenge area. Xiao Chen had already challenged others yesterday, but Yi Xiaoye didn't have anyone to challenge. In fact, there were very few people who actually challenged others. Only a few of them went on stage in succession. These people's strength was about the same. Perhaps there were some small conflicts before, but very soon, no one challenged again. In fact, these contestants who came to participate in the challenge rarely had any deep hatred. The people who had deep hatred were their elders. Many of them didn't know each other, so there was no need to challenge them. This time, the Songming Righteous and Demonic Summit was very successful. No one challenged again, and Elder Wang came out to preside over the closing work of the summit. However, I hope that after the summit ends, everyone will put aside their personal grievances in the competition. This is jointly supervised by the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I don't want anyone to violate it. Because at the end of the summit, I gave you a chance to challenge each other. If you didn't, then you can't challenge each other privately afterwards. In fact, what Elder Wang said was basically nonsense. For example, Li Shanning and Leng Youxiang, who were killed by Xiao Chen, were dead. How could they challenge each other? In other words, those who were not as strong as others would lose no matter how they challenged them. If they had to add points, who would dare to challenge them? After the event, they would find a stronger fellow sect member to take revenge. Only then would they have a chance to take down the other party. It was impossible to take revenge directly at the summit. Perhaps some people think that you are not strong enough and want to find someone to take revenge. That's fine too. We'll settle it at the next summit. Elder Wang is right. I don't want anyone to break the rules after the summit ends. Elder Su also said, okay, now let's invite the two judges to announce the score of the competition. Song Huawu slowly said, the righteous sects have a total score of 450 points in this competition. The Devil Sect Alliance has a total score of 510 points in this competition. Hongzhu also said, according to the scores of both parties, the Devil Sect Alliance is the winner this time. Cheers instantly came from below the stage. These people were all devil cultivators. Since the beginning of the Righteous Devil Summit, the Devil Sect Alliance had always been at a disadvantage and rarely won. No one expected them to achieve a complete victory today. How could they not cheer? In fact, those who paid attention could also see that in this competition, White Fox alone had obtained the most individual points, a whopping 40 points. Li Shanying, Yu Danding, Junior Brother Ma, Senior Brother Chu, these 40 points were the 40 points that turned the tables. If the Devil Sect Alliance did not have these 40 points, and the Righteous Sects had these 40 points, the outcome would be different. At that time, the Righteous Sects would have 490 points, while the Devil Sect Alliance would have 470 points. In this case, the Devil's Sect would definitely lose. However, Xiaochen did not mind. He told Yi Xiaoya that he would look for her when he had time and left the venue. He had to leave quickly. It was not appropriate for him to appear in the public eye for the time being. However, before he could go far, his phone rang. Xiaochen thought it was the young miss, but it turned out to be Hongzhu. Hongzhu? You're looking for me? Xiaochen picked up the phone and was a little puzzled as to why Hongzhu was calling him again. I have something to do. Can you come to the pharmacy and help me look after it for a while? Hongzhu's voice was very urgent, as if something had happened. Me? Help you look after the pharmacy? Xiaochen was stunned. He was a little puzzled. Can't you just close it? Won't the pharmacy be closed when you come to attend the summit? A few days is a few days. Don't I have something to do? If I close the shop again, Hong Yan will definitely scold me to death when she comes back. My pharmacy is about to close down. I have to reopen it tonight. Besides, I've already put up a notice, Hongzhu said. Damn, then what am I going to do? Help you sell medicine? Xiaochen asked. Yes, anyway, there are prices on it. Just sell it according to the price. Hongzhu said. All right. Xiaochen thought for a moment. Hongzhu had helped him a lot, so now that Hongzhu asked him for help, he really couldn't refuse, so he agreed. Then I'll go to your pharmacy now. Go quickly. I'm also rushing over there. Hongzhu said. All right, see you later. After Xiaochen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Hongzhu hung up the phone and sensed the aura. There should be no mistake. This person was the candidate his master was looking for. Hongzhu had come to the secular world, to Songning City, not only to help Hong Yan look after the store, but also to shoulder an important task, and that was to find an outstanding candidate for the sect, the Heavenly Fox sect that Hongzhu belonged to, specialized in bewitching techniques. However, whether it was Hongzhu or anyone else, none of them were particularly suited for bewitching techniques. Although bewitching techniques could be cultivated by any woman, if one wanted to cultivate it to perfection and reach a higher realm, one must have a suitable physique. Innate charm was a very rare physique. This kind of charm was a kind of inner charm. It was different from those external charms that were flaunted. It was innate and not an effect that was produced through training and cultivation. Hongzhu's aptitude could only be considered average. Moreover, she did not want to have any great development in this field. She only wanted to learn some skills. Her first task was to manage the Honging group of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. This was her goal, and also what she liked to do. Chapter 385. Therefore, she was quite opposed to Li Shanpao's marriage. Once she married Li Shanpao, then Honging Group's authority would have to be handed over, because the Hong Chamber of Commerce was not a monolithic entity. After several thousand years of development, Hong Zhong, who was at the helm, already had many descendants. Although Hong Zhu's grandfather was the main bloodline, there were also many other relatively close collateral relatives, such as Hong Zhu's cousins. Which of these people did not want to replace him? Hong Zhu had only two goals now. One was to find a woman with a natural charm and replace her. Although Hong Zhu's aptitude was not very good, she was considered one of the best in the Heavenly Fox sect. The Heavenly Fox sect only had a candidate for the position of demon sect saintess every few decades. The Heavenly Fox sect had placed great hopes on Hong Zhu, so if she did not find someone who could replace her, it would not be easy for Hong Zhu to get away. Although she was an important figure in the Hong Chamber of Commerce, it was the sect that taught her martial arts cultivation. Hong Zhu was not an ungrateful person, so she must finish what she started. She was a demonic cultivator who practiced the bewitching bone technique, so she was particularly sensitive to the aura of the bewitching bone technique. However, she could not say that she could tell who was who in the vast sea of people with just a glance, let alone search aimlessly. However, it was not that there was no way. When a woman with a natural charm had the strongest desire in that aspect, she could feel the existence of the other party. In Songning City, there was a woman with a natural charm. This was accidentally sensed by other people in the sect when they were carrying out other tasks in Songning City. However, the aura was coming to an end, and the people in the sect had other things to do, so they missed it. However, the approximate location was near the Little Hong Pharmacy where Hong Zhu was. There might be a slight deviation, because the person had sensed it in action. It was just that Hong Zhu had not sensed anything even though she had been here for a very long time. Thus, in her opinion, the location of the pharmacy was perhaps just a kilometer away from where that naturally bewitching person was. Perhaps, that person had only booked a room in a nearby hotel, or perhaps, there were other reasons. In short, there had been no news for so long, and Hong Zhu was about to give up. However, she did not expect to be discovered today. Although a virgin's body had a miraculous effect on cultivating the charming bones cultivation method, a woman who had lost her virginity had a natural aptitude. It was not that she couldn't cultivate it, but the effect would be slightly worse. However, if there was a man with a compatible physique to cultivate with her, she would receive an incredible effect. Therefore, it was not important whether she was a virgin or not, and Hong Zhu was not in a hurry either. As long as he could find the other party, it would be fine. As for when the other party had that desire, it did not matter whether it was pure desire or doing that kind of thing. However, this kind of aura was continuous. Only when the other party had a desire, Hong Zhu would be able to resonate with it and sense it. Within a radius of 1 kilometer, he would be able to track it. And on her way back to the pharmacy, she sensed this aura, which made Hong Zhu a little anxious. However, she couldn't just ignore the pharmacy. There were some things that she didn't say. Grandpa Chen had called earlier and said that there might be a very important customer coming to buy medicine tonight, so he told Hong Zhu to hurry back as soon as possible. As a result, Hong Zhu was in a bit of a dilemma. She rarely told her family about the matters of the sect, and her family matters could not be delayed. After all, she was the person in charge of the Honging group. After that, she thought of grabbing a strong man and brought Xiao Chen to look after the store, while she went to track that aura. At the entrance of Little Hong's pharmacy, Xiao Chen saw Hong Zhu, who was looking around anxiously while waiting. He could not help but think that this little demon girl ran really fast. She actually arrived much earlier than him. However, thinking about it, she and Song Hua were the judges of the summit, so there would definitely be a special car to pick them up. On the other hand, because he had concealed his identity to go to the summit, he did not drive. Of course, he would not be as fast as her on foot. Hong Zhu, go and do what you need to do. I'll help you look after it, said Xiao Chen. Then I'm leaving. Hongzhu nodded and did not say anything else. She immediately left with quick steps. After thinking about it, Xiaochen did not change his appearance. He still appeared at the pharmacy with the appearance of a white fox. If he appeared here with Xiaochen's appearance, it would be even worse if he was discovered by someone with ulterior motives. However, the white fox was also a demonic cultivator, so it was not a big deal for her to be acquainted with Hongzhu. Moreover, Hongzhu had helped him several times during the summit. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that he and Hongzhu had some sort of relationship. However, it was different for Xiaochen. Even if Xiaochen came here to buy medicine, why would he help Hongzhu look after the store? It was obvious that the two of them had some sort of relationship. It would not be good if someone with ulterior motives became suspicious, especially when they were being investigated by Qiao Ens of the Warrior Guild. After entering the pharmacy, Xiaochen sat behind the counter, where Hongzhu usually sat a day. There were no cultivation resources here, so Xiaochen could only foolishly sit there and take out his phone to browse through the Warrior Guild's missions. Now that Xiaochen was not lacking in money, he did not have much interest in the low-level missions of the Warrior Guild. However, he could post mission commissions here and there. Thinking about it, Xiaochen had never failed to post a mission before. And now, he needed spirit jades. After hesitating for a while, Xiaochen issued a mission commission in the name of the White Fox. Previously, he had announced to Lu Zhenming that Xiaochen was his little brother, and Xiaochen had been collecting ancient jades for a while. Now, if the White Fox were to collect ancient jades, there would not be too many suspicions. After all, a little brother collecting ancient jades for the boss was reasonable. Therefore, Xiaochen issued a commission to collect ancient jades. However, he added a lot of restrictive conditions and descriptions. Even so, it was impossible to guarantee that the ancient jades were spirit jades. In this way, they would have to meet and trade. Although it was a little risky, it was worth it when compared to the cultivation rewards. Xiaochen's bounty was not low. 10,000 points for a piece of ancient jade. If converted into cash, it would be 10 million. Although 10 million might be the auction price of some ancient jades in the secular world, 10,000 points was still more attractive to martial artists. After posting, Xiaochen waited for someone to reply. However, after browsing for more than half an hour, no one accepted the mission. Some people even commented that it was very strange. Why would a martial artist want this thing? If they wanted to collect it, go to the antique market. It was purely a waste of points. During this half an hour, Xiaochen sold medicine a few times. However, they were all the commonly used medicine, such as cold medicine, stomach remedy, Huxiangxingqi water, and so on. Just when he was feeling bored, the door of the pharmacy was pushed open again. This time, it was a young girl in a dark yellow tang suit. She carried a woman who looked to be in her 40s or 50s. She hurried into the pharmacy and came to Xiaochen. "Welcome. What medicine would you like to buy?" Xiaochen stood up and asked in a professional manner. As for his white fox mask, no one thought there was anything wrong with it. Nowadays, for the sake of commercial sales, many shops would make some strange props and costumes. For example, the receptionists in big panda costumes at the entrance of shopping malls and the clowns at the entrance of restaurants. However, it was a little strange to see such a person in a pharmacy, but not surprising. It was just that the person, the young girl, looked at Xiaochen and felt a little strange. "Why are you here? Are Master Chen or Master Lu here? I contacted them before." "Master Chen? Master Lu? They are busy and not here." "You can tell me what you want to buy." Xiaochen also looked at the young girl in front of him strangely. She looked very ordinary. In the vast sea of people, one could not even tell her apart at a glance. However, with Xiaochen's sharp divine sense and mental strength, he could sense that she was wearing a mask. It was a high-precision mask similar to a human skin mask. There were no flaws on the surface, and only people like Xiaochen could sense it. Therefore, Xiaochen was secretly vigilant against this young girl who did not show her real face like him. He did not know why she was here. Was the person on her a patient? With you? Are you a pharmacist? The young girl seemed a little anxious, but there was a hint of disdain in her words. My master has a problem with his cultivation. He is possessed by the devil. He must find a pharmacist to treat him as soon as possible. Otherwise, his life will be in danger. In the vicinity, the best medical skills were Apothecary Lu and Apothecary Chen from Little Hong's pharmacy. The young girl felt lucky that they were close to here and could make it in time. If she returned to her sect, she might not be in trouble. However, even though he was a little distrustful of Xiao Chen, he sounded too young. At most, he was the disciple of Apothecary Lu or Apothecary Chen. He had no choice but to say it. Oh, then wait for a while, Xiao Chen said faintly. They are not here. I have an appointment with them. Can you help me contact them? I can't get through to Master Chen's phone, and I don't have Master Lu's number. The young girl was a little anxious, but her tone was not very good. I don't know either. Xiao Chen said faintly, if you want to find them, just wait. If you want to find me, I will show you. Can you see? Do you know how to read it? The girl glared angrily at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not say anything. This young girl's eyes were very beautiful and full of spirit. She should not be ugly, but he did not know why she was wearing a mask. Seeing that Xiao Chen did not speak, the young girl continued, only Master Chen or Master Lu can suppress my master's injury. I said, then you just wait for them. Xiao Chen was also a little impatient. You came here to see a doctor, and the doctor is not here. Then you just wait. I will show you, but you still don't want to do it. Who will care about you? If it was not because he wanted to help Hong Zhu and did not want to offend the guests, Xiao Chen would have asked them to leave. He had only said so much out of respect for Hong Zhu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered wasting his breath on this matter. Tomorrow, there will be a Fishman Book Club at Harbin University of Technology. Fans in Bing City, don't miss it. For details, see Fishman Prestige Urine 22. Chapter 386. Humph. The young girl snorted coldly. Are you a staff member hired by this pharmacy? Xiao Chen glanced at her and did not answer. He continued to play with his phone. You. The young girl was furious, but she didn't say anything else to Xiao Chen. Instead, she anxiously dialed her phone. However, the other side of the phone kept ringing that she couldn't get through. This made her extremely anxious. After waiting for about 20 minutes, the young girl finally became anxious. She put down the phone and looked at Xiao Chen. Hey, you don't know when they'll be back? I don't know, Xiao Chen said. Then, can you take a look at my master? But are your medical skills good? The young girl hesitated and said. If it's not good, then don't look. Xiao Chen coldly replied. Then, take a look. The young girl had no other choice. It was not a good idea to drag on like this. If she could not suppress her master's qi deviation, it would become more and more serious. Before he could return to the sect, he would die here. Oh, the medical fees are very expensive. Do you have the money to pay? Xiao Chen glanced at the young girl and asked coldly. If the other party's attitude was good to him, he would also be good for Hong Zhu's sake. At the very least, he would not struggle with the medical fees. But now, the other party clearly had an arrogant and distrustful expression on her face. Xiao Chen naturally did not have a good tone and immediately asked for medical fees. You. The young girl was about to explode. Why are you so greedy? If you can suppress my master's injuries, I will naturally treat you well. I don't believe you. Prove it first. Do you have the money? Xiao Chen was unmoved. You. Why are you like this? Are you a doctor or not? The young girl was anxious. In fact, she did not bring much money with her. She was a member of the pugilistic world and rarely brought money with her. She rummaged through her pockets and only had a few hundred yuan. Xiaochen curled his lips and looked at the few hundred yuan on the counter. He coldly snorted. So little. It's not even enough to pay for a visit, let alone treatment. The young woman stared at Xiaochen. Then, how much do you want? Xiaochen narrowed his eyes, looked at the girl in front of him, and said, my house calls usually start from a few million, or you can use other things to pay off the debt. You, lecher. Seeing Xiaochen's lecherous look, the young girl immediately thought of something. She glared at Xiaochen and said, I'll tell your master and let him deal with you. Oh, my master died a long time ago, Xiaochen said. He wasn't lying. His master really was dead. If he had to say that he was alive, then he could only say that the soul of the elder heaven ancestor was still alive. You scoundrel who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors. The young girl was so angry that she wanted to stomp the person in front of her to death. In the eyes of a martial artist like her, deceiving one's master and destroying one's ancestors was a heinous crime, even more serious than murder and robbery. I said that you don't have enough medical fees, so you can use other things to pay off the debt. You said that I'm a scoundrel who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors. Are you crazy? Xiaochen curled his lips and looked at the young girl strangely. Then what do you want to use to pay off the debt? The young girl asked. For example, you. When Xiaochen said this, he paused for a moment. This was because his eyes swept over the ancient jade on the young girl's neck. There was a faint fluctuation of spiritual energy. He didn't even touch it, but it was already so obvious. This should be a good thing, not inferior to the jade pendant he was wearing before. The young girl's face suddenly became even uglier. She really couldn't understand why her appearance was so ordinary. Why would it attract the attention and desire of the person in front of her? Was there something wrong with this person's heart? Or was he a lecher who was so hungry that he couldn't be choosy? Don't even think about it. The young girl snorted coldly. Then let your master wait for her death. It seems that she won't be able to hold on for long. It seems that she has been possessed by the devil, and her body has produced a lot of devil energy that she can't refine, right? Xiaochen glanced at the middle-aged woman's situation and guessed that it was about right. This. The young girl turned her head and looked. Sure enough, her master's face was gradually turning black. This was the sign of devil energy getting to her head. If she continued to not control it, her master's life would be in danger. Thinking of this, the young girl became a little anxious. Her master had treated her with great kindness. If something really happened to her master because of her persistence, she would not be able to live with it for the rest of her life. The young girl hesitated for a moment, gritted her teeth and said, okay. I'll do whatever you say. Now? Is it here? Can you help me take a look at my master first? I've promised you, and I won't go back on my word. Let's do it now. Maybe you'll go back on your word later. Xiaochen smiled slightly and reached out to grab the young girl's chest. The young girl's body trembled slightly, but she stood there. She didn't stop him, nor did she dodge. She let Xiaochen's hand attack her. However, what surprised her was that Xiaochen's hand didn't shove into her chest like she had imagined. Instead, it stopped on the jade pendant on her neck. Xiaochen pulled hard and the jade pendant was in his hand. Then, he retracted his hand and said, okay, let me take a look at your master. What are you doing with my jade pendant? The young girl was a little puzzled. Didn't Xiaochen want her? Oh, I'm talking about your jade pendant. But before I could finish, you interrupted me. Then what did you think I wanted? Xiaochen touched the jade pendant in his hand. He was secretly excited. It really was a spiritual jade. And the spiritual energy fluctuation in it was extremely strong. However, on the surface, he asked calmly. Ah. The young girl was taken aback, and a hint of anger flashed across her face. However, although this jade pendant was rather important and was a treasure, it could strengthen one's body if worn for a long time. However, she was a martial artist, so the effect of this thing was relatively small. She just didn't expect that Xiao Chen wanted this thing. Then why didn't he make it clear? Was he happy to let her feel ashamed and insulted? Xiao Chen grabbed the young girl's body and the middle-aged woman's pulse. Then, he circulated the mantra and used his body's primordial qi to guide the disharmonious demonic qi in her body out. This demonic qi was accidentally produced, so it wasn't controlled by the middle-aged woman. There was no need to deliberately guide it. When Xiao Chen circulated his primordial qi, the demonic qi automatically entered his body. This demonic qi wouldn't be too much of a problem in Xiao Chen's body. When he dual cultivated with Yi Xiaoya, he could take advantage of the impact and dissolve it, turning it into the primordial qi in his body. Then, it would have the effect of increasing his cultivation. In Xiao Chen's opinion, it was very worthwhile to use this move in exchange for a piece of spiritual jade. Therefore, Xiao Chen directly absorbed all the disharmonious demonic qi in the middle-aged woman's body. There was not a trace left. This was also considered as a thank you to the master and disciple. Done. Xiao Chen stopped the circulation of the mantra, withdrew his hand, and said to the young girl faintly. Done? You just checked my master's pulse and said it's done. Are you a liar? The young girl saw that Xiao Chen didn't do anything, so she said it was done. Wasn't this obvious behavior of a liar? Therefore, she directly questioned Xiao Chen. In her opinion, Xiao Chen must be a pharmacy attendant who wanted to cheat people. With this thought, the young girl's stage 10 inner force cultivation was immediately revealed, and it almost scared Xiao Chen to the point of peeing. What the heck, a top master? Stage 10 inner force. This was the first top martial artist that Xiao Chen had seen with his own eyes. How could they have such high strength? What was the background of these two people? If the disciple already had such a cultivation, then wouldn't the master be? However, on the surface, Xiao Chen was indifferent and said coldly, if you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Don't show your poor cultivation, ignorant. You. The young girl was so angry that she withdrew the demonic qi on her body and snorted. She was also anxious about her master's situation. As a result, she was suddenly dumbfounded. The black qi on her master's face was gone. Instead, it was replaced by a normal color. Although it was still a little pale, it was obvious that he was fine. The young girl was shocked and quickly checked the condition of her master's body. However, what shocked her was that the disharmonious demonic qi in her master's body caused by qi deviation had all disappeared. Not a single bit. At this moment, the young girl was a little stunned and didn't know what to say. This person in front of her. Who was he? How could he have such superb medical skills? One had to know that even the masters in the sect couldn't do it. Although others could also expel the demonic qi, it would be channeled into other people's bodies. Similarly, the person who the demonic qi entered would suffer qi deviation, so no one dared to do it. They could only first find a pharmacist to control the demonic qi, then restore their sober state. With the help of elixirs, they could slowly refine the disharmonious demonic qi produced by qi deviation. However, this process was extremely long. It could take a year, or it could even take 8 to 10 years. Depending on the degree of qi deviation and the degree of one's own recovery, the time would be different. In short, unless it was a supernatural being whose strength was much higher than her master's, only then would they be able to expel the demonic qi and dispel it easily. Could it be that this person's strength was higher than her master's? And he had said that her cultivation was pitiful. Didn't that mean that she was nothing in his eyes? At this thought, the young girl broke out in a cold sweat. Whether this person in front of her was a lecher or a scoundrel, he had an extremely high cultivation. Otherwise, how could he have dispelled the demonic qi in her master's body? From the looks of it, he didn't seem to be affected at all. In other words, this person's strength had already reached the acme of perfection. Actually, she didn't know that cultivators and warriors had two different cultivation systems. Therefore, even though the demonic qi was in Xiao Chen's body, it didn't affect him too much. Because the attributes of vitality and demonic qi were different, they wouldn't clash with each other. Occasionally, some demonic qi would act up and cause Xiaochen some pain. For example, Leng Youxiang's chilly demonic qi. Chapter 387. But overall, Xiaochen didn't have much of an impact. At least, the young girl couldn't tell. My master is fine? The young girl couldn't accept the truth in front of her. It was too shocking. Senior. Thank you, he's cured, but you don't have to thank me. You paid for my treatment. Xiaochen said faintly. No, Senior, I know that the spiritual jade is nothing. It's far from enough to exchange for your help. The young girl was telling the truth. If it was an expert who treated her master, this little bit of compensation was far from enough. Therefore, the young girl knew very well that the other party was just an ordinary pharmacist in the secular world. However, he was clearly a senior expert. Did he not have any values? If she behaved with a clear conscience and the senior was unhappy, he wouldn't teach them a lesson. Even if he didn't teach them a lesson, it wouldn't be a good thing to offend him. Moreover, she might need his help in the future. Oh, you can say whatever you want. Xiaochen smiled bitterly. However, he felt that this young girl was pretty good. At least she knew how to be grateful and felt that she owed him. However, the young girl's words caught Xiaochen's attention. Spiritual jade? You know about spiritual jade? Oh. I know. This kind of jade is called spiritual jade. It's not the same as ordinary jade. When worn, it can strengthen the body. However, with senior strength, this kind of jade is really not very useful. The young girl nodded and explained. Oh, I gave it to my friend. Do you have more? Xiaochen asked. No. This kind of thing is not very useful, but it's rare. The young girl shook her head. Does senior still need it? Yes, if you do, that would be the best, Xiaochen said. Then. I owe senior a favor this time. When I go back, I can help senior collect this kind of spiritual jade. How do I contact senior then? The young girl asked. Come here and give it to the shopkeeper of this pharmacy. Medicine Master Chen or Medicine Master Lu will do. Hong Zhu and Hong Yan will also do, Xiaochen said calmly. Okay, thank you very much, senior. I will take my leave now. I will take my master back to rest. The girl nodded and said. Sure. Xiaochen's calm demeanor made the girl feel that this person was not simple. The girl cupped her fists and left the pharmacy with her master. Hong Zhu stood at the entrance of a villa complex with a slight frown on her face. She had clearly sensed that the bewitching aura had come from nearby, but the moment she arrived here, the bewitching aura had disappeared. Why is it gone? Hong Zhu had already wandered the vicinity for more than an hour. He had originally thought that that aura would appear again, but unfortunately, that aura did not appear. Hong Zhu waited for a long time, but seeing that he had gained nothing, he could only give up and return to the pharmacy. However, she could confirm that the aura should have come from the vicinity of this villa complex. However, what was more difficult to investigate was that there were not only villas in this area, but also foreign houses. The foreign houses were the kind of 6-story, 3-family duplex buildings. Although there were only a few houses in a single building, Hong Zhu couldn't possibly search each house one by one, could she? Returning to the pharmacy, Hong Zhu saw Xiaochen sitting behind the counter, looking just like a waiter. She couldn't help but smile. Hey, you're so responsible. How was it? Did anyone come? Oh, there was. I sold some things and recorded them down, Xiaochen said as he pointed at the account book. I mean, did anyone strange come here? Hong Zhu casually glanced at the account book, then put it aside and asked. Strange people? Oh, yes, there was a woman who came with a 40-year-old woman on her back to buy medicine. She said that her master's cultivation had deviated, Xiaochen said. And then? Where is she? Hongzhu was startled and hurriedly asked in a somewhat nervous manner. She left, Xiaochen said. Left? She didn't say anything? Hongzhu was surprised. No. Xiaochen said, all right, I should also go back. Where did you go just now? Why were you gone for so long? It's nothing, I went to look for someone, but I couldn't find her. Hongzhu was obviously unwilling to talk about it. Xiaochen nodded and didn't ask any more questions. After bidding farewell to Hongzhu, he left the pharmacy and returned to his villa. Near the villa, Xiaochen restored his original appearance. However, when he entered the villa, neither Qing Menjing nor Yi Xiaoya were downstairs, allowing Xiaochen to smoothly enter his room. After taking a quick bath and changing his clothes, Xiaochen brewed a pot of medicinal liquid and began to prepare for cultivation. After the medicinal liquid was properly brewed, Xiaochen wore the spirit jade on his body, then quickly took the medicinal liquid and began to cultivate. Xiaochen had just broken through to the 7th layer of refinement stage and had just consolidated his cultivation. He hoped that he could use the spirit jade to go a step further. Of course, Xiaochen didn't think it was possible. After all, the higher one's cultivation was, the slower one's progress would be. Elder Heaven Ancestor, I am now at the 7th layer of refinement stage. Is this medicinal liquid still effective? Xiaochen asked. You didn't talk to me, I thought you had forgotten about me. You look pretty awesome today, daring to treat that woman's injury without authorization, and saying that your master is dead? How is your master dead? Elder Heaven Ancestor's dissatisfied voice sounded. I was just excited when I saw the spirit jade. Xiaochen said with a bit of sweat. Do you want to die because you were excited? Don't you know that her level is much higher than yours? Her devil chi entered your body, and if you don't resolve it, your life will be in danger. Elder Heaven Ancestor said seriously. Really? Xiaochen was slightly stunned and shocked, then Why didn't you stop me at that time? But you and Yi Xiaoya can be resolved through dual cultivation, so I didn't stop you. If it was before, I would have definitely stopped you. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, but don't be too reckless next time. Her condition can be resolved with medicinal liquid, but the effect is a bit slow. I can give you the prescription. Forget it, since it has already happened, I will go find Yi Xiaoya for dual cultivation. Xiaochen had an attitude of taking things as they come. Since it had already happened, there was no point in dwelling on it. Oh right, what special ability does a 7th layer of refinement stage have? I didn't have time to ask you before at the summit. The special ability of the 7th layer of refinement stage is still object manipulation, but you can control slightly larger objects. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, this ability is quite useful if you use it well. Object manipulation. Xiaochen couldn't help but be a bit disappointed after hearing this. This ability, except for scaring people in Shen Zhenghao's house, had not been used in any proper place. When it came to real battles, Xiaochen didn't see any big advantages for the time being. It also has its advantages, you can slowly experience it. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, tomorrow, your medicinal ingredients will be prepared according to the current formula. The 8th layer of refinement stage needs to be changed. Okay. Xiaochen nodded. After the exercise, the medicinal efficacy was absorbed by Xiaochen. With the spiritual energy from the spirit jade, Xiaochen's 7th layer of refinement stage was approaching the peak, but there was still a long way to go. After nightfall, Xiaochen quietly changed into the white fox costume, and then tiptoed upstairs, planning to go to Yi Xiaoya's room. However, when he just walked to Yi Xiaoya's room, he heard a click sound from the door not far away. A beautiful figure in pajamas came out. When she saw Xiaochen not far away, she couldn't help but be stunned. She almost exclaimed, but fortunately, she covered her mouth in time. The person who came out was Shen Jingxian. She was a little thirsty after sleeping in the middle of the night, and planned to go downstairs to get a bottle of drink. The drinks in the bedroom were finished, and she didn't think to prepare a bottle before going to bed. Seeing Xiaochen, an uncontrollable anger flashed in Shen Jingxuan's eyes. He was actually standing in front of Yi Xiaoya's room, and he was also wearing the white fox costume. What was he going to do? In the middle of the night, he ran to the door of Yi Xiaoye's room. If someone said that there was no problem with him, Shen Jingxian wouldn't believe it. Jingxian. Xiao Chen was stunned, and then he couldn't help but smile bitterly. How could there be such a coincidence? When he went upstairs, she came out of the room. Originally, he thought that in the middle of the night, Menjing must be asleep, and Shen Jingxian, perhaps, because tomorrow is Monday, she must have returned to her home, but he didn't expect that she would stay here for the night. Shen Jingxian coldly glanced at Xiao Chen, expressionlessly passed by him, and went downstairs. Xiao Chen was shocked, and quickly chased after her. He wanted to hold her hand, but Shen Jingxian ruthlessly shook it off. Xiao Chen was anxious, and he stopped in front of Shen Jingxian. Jingxian, listen to my explanation. In fact, things are not what you think. Get out of the way, or I will call for help. Let Menjing see what you look like now, White Fox hero. Shen Jingxian said coldly. Xiao Chen had no choice but to get out of the way. He was really afraid that Shen Jingxian would call for help, and then it would be even more difficult to deal with if it woke up the young Mississippi. Shen Jingxian saw Xiao Chen get out of the way, and she walked downstairs, but her steps were a little unsteady, and her whole body fell down head first. Xiao Chen was suddenly shocked, and he wanted to pull her up, but it was too late. He stood at the stairs, and Shen Jingxian fell down from the halfway position. How could he catch up? However, in a hurry, Xiao Chen jumped directly from the second floor, and quickly fell to the stairs. Bang! Ah! Shen Jingxian exclaimed, and her whole body directly fell on Xiao Chen's body, but she wasn't hurt. However, Shen Jingxian was wearing pajamas, and she woke up in the middle of sleep, so she didn't wear anything under the loose pajamas. Xiao Chen felt that there were two soft lumps pressing on his back, which made him want to turn back and touch them, but he thought about it and decided not to. Shen Jingxian and he were now in a period of Cold War. If he touched her, it would not be worth it. Chapter 388. When Shen Jingxian saw Xiao Chen suddenly appearing under her, she was slightly stunned. She was a little touched, but she didn't intend to forgive Xiao Chen so easily. If Xiao Chen was an ordinary person, she might forgive him. After all, it took a lot of courage for an ordinary person to jump from the second floor and become a human punching bag for her. However, Xiao Chen was not only a warrior, but also a paranormal. He could easily kill a master at the peak of Inner Force Stage 8. It wouldn't be a big problem for him to be punched by her. So, she climbed up from Xiao Chen's body. Shen Jingxian snorted and went to get a drink. She didn't care about Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen stood up and caught up with Shen Jingxian. Jingxian, be careful. What do you want? I'll get it for you. No need. Shen Jingxian opened the cupboard and took out a bottle of yogurt and a bottle of mineral water. Then, she turned around and went upstairs. However, looking at Shen Jingxian's staggering appearance, Xiao Chen was afraid that she would fall again. So, he ran over and carried Shen Jingxian, who was a few steps up the stairs. He put her on his neck and carried her upstairs. Shen Jingxian was shocked. She wanted to struggle, but she was afraid that she would lose her balance and fall. She wanted to call for help, but that was just to scare Xiao Chen. In fact, she didn't dare to let Qing Menjing know her relationship with Xiao Chen. He felt that there was nothing under Shen Jingxian's nightgown. It seemed that something like hair was rubbing against the back of Xiao Chen's neck, which made him a little excited. Shen Jingxian wasn't wearing anything? Shen Jingxian also realized that something was wrong. A strange feeling rose in her heart, and she couldn't help but recall the time when the two of them were on the isolated island. The situation at that time was somewhat similar to this, but she wasn't naked at that time. As Xiao Chen walked upstairs, the slight friction made Shen Jingxian's heart beat faster. Although she had only done it with Xiao Chen once, this kind of similar feeling made her unable to stop. Once they were upstairs, Xiao Chen put Shen Jingxian down. He didn't do anything excessive because he knew that going too far was as bad as not going far enough. Shen Jingxian glared at him, quickly returned to the bedroom, and closed the door. Xiao Chen felt a cool sensation at the back of his neck. He touched it with his hand and found a patch of water. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Goddess Shen must still like him. Otherwise, she wouldn't have such a reaction. However, there was still a long way to go for her to forgive him. But overall, Xiao Chen was relieved. At least, Goddess Shen didn't hate him. Xiao Chen went to the public washroom to wipe it. Otherwise, if Yi Xiaoya saw it, he wouldn't be able to explain it. Moreover, although he didn't think it was a big deal, girls still disliked each other, just like what happened between Jean Bebe and Elder Miss in the car. After doing all this, Xiao Chen returned to the door of Yi Xiaoya's room and reached out to open the door. Although the door was locked, it was a piece of cake for Xiao Chen. After returning to the room, Shen Jingxian didn't go to sleep immediately. Instead, she stood by the door and watched the situation outside through the peephole. She saw Xiao Chen touch the back of his neck and take a look at it, which made her blush instantly. Shen Jingxian didn't expect that she would be so humiliated. She just sat on Xiao Chen's body, but she also wanted to see whether Xiao Chen would go to see Yi Xiaoya. Her room was diagonally opposite to Yi Xiaoya's, so she could see it directly. After Xiao Chen went to the public washroom, he returned to the door of Yi Xiaoya's room, opened the door directly, and entered without even knocking on the door. Shen Jingxian suddenly felt a chill in her heart. Sure enough, there was something wrong. Even she and Cheng Menjing would lock the door at night. How could Yi Xiaoya go to sleep without locking the door? It seemed that she must have left the door open for Xiao Chen, so that he could come and go. Thinking of this, Shen Jingxian sighed. I really shouldn't believe him. He was simply deceiving me. Until now, he still said that it wasn't like what I thought. What should I think? Can't he tell the truth to me? Of course, Yi Xiaoya's door was locked. But even if the door was locked, Yi Xiaoya's alertness was still quite high. When Xiao Chen came in, Yi Xiaoya woke up, but she didn't make a sound. She just waited for Xiao Chen to close the door. Yi Xiaoya suddenly jumped from the bed, and a dark flame palm came at Xiao Chen. In Yi Xiaoya's view, the person who opened her locked door in the middle of the night without a sound was definitely not a good person. Xiao Chen was also shocked. He didn't expect that Yi Xiaoya didn't even say a word. She just got up and attacked directly. He thought that Yi Xiaoya was asleep. Little Yi, it's me. Xiao Chen said in the voice of the white fox. Ah. Yi Xiaoya quickly stopped her palm technique. She was a little surprised. White fox? Why are you here? How did you find this place? You forgot. Xiao Chen is my underling. Xiao Chen said, then I asked for the address and came over. Oh, then how did you open my door? Yi Xiaoya was a little puzzled. Her door was locked from the inside. She couldn't open it with the key from the outside. The white fox didn't violently destroy it. It seemed that it opened with a simple push. Technical lock picking. Do you want to learn? Xiao Chen said, quickly open all kinds of inner and outer mill blade locks, B-class locks, forget it. I don't want to learn it. You can study it yourself. Yi Xiaoya was a little speechless. Why did you come to me in the middle of the night? I thought you were a thief or my enemy. Naturally, it's to find you for dual cultivation. Xiao Chen said, don't you want to? I want to, but you and I aren't husband and wife. It's not reasonable to always cultivate like this. You are not allowed to have any bad thoughts. Yi Xiaoya said. My girlfriend lives next door to you. What do you think I can do? Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh. Yi Xiaoya also remembered that Shen Jingxian was here. She was relieved. Well, wait for me to close the curtains. Then, you and I will take off our clothes so that we won't burn our clothes when we cultivate. However, you have to come in the middle of the night in the future. You can't come during the day when there is light. Okay. Xiao Chen said. I still have to go to school during the day. how can I come? Yi Xiaoya closed the curtains. The curtains were the kind of shading cloth. Once it was closed, the room was completely dark. Yi Xiaoya was originally wearing pajamas, so she quickly took it off. Although Xiaochen felt a little weird, he still took off his clothes. Then, he sat face to face with Yi Xiaoya on the bed. Then, the two of them put their palms together. Just like before, they began to circulate the mantra, intertwining the demonic energy and the primordial energy to carry out a mutual cycle. In the darkness, although Xiaochen couldn't see clearly at the beginning, the six senses of a cultivator allowed him to quickly adapt to the situation in the room. He could clearly see Yi Xiaoya's body. This made him feel very excited, but it was also very immoral. Yi Xiaoya trusted him and cultivated with him. If he took the opportunity to peek at Yi Xiaoya, it would be too immoral. However, after Xiaochen took a look, he wanted to take a second look. Xiaochen's breathing was slightly rapid. Yi Xiaoya didn't know what was going on. She was a little puzzled. What's wrong with you? Is it because the mantra is circulating too fast that you can't bear it? That's not it. Next time, let's find a curtain and put it in the middle, said Xiaochen. So what if you can see it? Yi Xiaoya snorted with some disdain. Mom is so annoying. After saying that, she deliberately puffed out her chest, meaning that Xiaochen couldn't see it at all. No. It's just that it feels a little awkward. Xiaochen almost vomited blood. Don't be so nosy. Where should we hang a curtain? Yi Xiaoya glared at Xiaochen and remembered that he couldn't see it. In fact, Xiaochen could see it. Xiaochen could simply close his eyes, take a deep breath, and continue to cultivate with Yi Xiaoya. Otherwise, if he thought too much in his heart, Xiaochen was afraid that he would directly go mad. The demonic energy in his body had not been digested yet. If Xiaochen went mad again, it would bode ill. However, after the dual cultivation, Xiaochen also discovered a problem. The demonic energy in his body this time was very difficult to digest. The demonic energy was very stubborn, and it was not as easy to digest as Leng Youxiang's demonic energy. Now, Xiaochen finally understood what the Elder Heaven Ancestor meant. The demonic energy was really too scary. If he didn't rely on dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoya, he wouldn't be able to digest it at all. After a long time, only God knew what accidents would happen in his body. However, after such a cycle, Xiaochen discovered that although the demonic energy in his body was dissolving very little, it was still being digested. And what surprised Xiaochen the most was that although the amount of the demonic energy was digested very little, once it was converted into his own vitality, it was quite strong. With the help of the spiritual jade pendant, Xiaochen felt that his cultivation speed was 3 to 4 times faster than usual. It seemed like the dual cultivation method that he had discovered with Yi Xiaoya was really beneficial to him. Of course, it wasn't just Xiaochen. Yi Xiaoya was also the same. She had also benefited a lot from dual cultivation. The night passed uneventfully. Early in the morning, a faint light shone into the room. Because the two of them were very focused on dual cultivation, they had forgotten about the time. Xiaochen had his eyes closed, so he didn't notice the changes outside the window. It wasn't until the sound of birds chirping came from outside the window that Yi Xiaoya came back to her senses. She looked forward and saw the naked white fox and his towering pillar. This made Yi Xiaoya a little angry. This guy was up to no good. What was he doing? She was so angry that she stopped her cultivation and kicked Xiaochen. Scram! Xiaochen opened his eyes and was stunned. He realized that the sky was gradually getting brighter. Looking at Yi Xiaoya's angry face, Xiaochen knew that his little Xiaochen had been exposed. But could he blame himself? This kind of cultivation method was really too torturous for Xiaochen. Chapter 389. Yi Xiaoya pulled the quilt and covered herself with it. Then, she said, "You're so ugly. Get lost." All right then. Xiaochen thought to himself. This was a classic case of turning hostile and not acknowledging him. You didn't say this when you were cultivating. Now that you're done cultivating, you want me to leave? Do you think I'm a stud? However, Xiao Chen was afraid that Shen Jingxian and the young miss would wake up, so he quickly put on his clothes and left in a flash. Fortunately, the corridor was quiet. Xiao Chen didn't dare to delay. He immediately went downstairs and returned to his room. Then, he closed the door, took a hot shower, began to change, and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiao Chen's back as he left. She snorted and thought, this guy seemed to have his eyes closed just now. He can think of unhealthy things with his eyes closed. I'm really impressed. In the morning, Yi Xiaoya, Qing Menjing, and Shen Jingxian went downstairs to eat together. Only Shen Jingxian yawned as if she didn't sleep well. On the other hand, Qing Menjing and Yi Xiaoya were in high spirits. Qing Menjing didn't get up last night, and Shen Jingxian didn't chat with her, so she slept well. As for Yi Xiaoya, she cultivated all night. Although her cultivation didn't improve much, there was still a lot of progress. Her state was naturally excellent. Shen Jingxian glanced at Yi Xiaoya. No matter how she looked at it, it seemed that she was nourished by a man. Otherwise, why would she be so energetic after attending the summit and coming back so tired? Seeing Xiao Chen making breakfast in the kitchen, Shen Jingxian walked over without batting an eyelid. She pretended to go to the closet to get a drink. When she passed by him, she said, "You look pretty energetic. You're up early in the morning to cook. Aren't you men tired after doing it?" Cough cough. Xiao Chen almost spat his saliva into the pot. "This means I didn't do it, humph." Shen Jingxian glared at him. She had seen him enter Yi Xiaoya's room with her own eyes. How could it be fake? Moreover, Yi Xiaoya's appearance was obviously different from usual. Back at the dining room, Shen Jingxian sat down and waited for breakfast. Qing Menjing looked at her and said, "Jingxian, why did you go to school this morning? Let's call a taxi." For the past 2 days, she and Qing Menjing had called a taxi to go to the summit. However, they had to call in advance to make a reservation, which was more troublesome. Otherwise, there would be no taxi waiting for customers in the villa area. Who could afford a villa did not have a private car? "Why don't we set off earlier and let Xiao Chen send you there?" Qing Menjing said. "No, it's not on the way." Shen Jingxian didn't want to see Xiao Chen. "By the way, Menjing, I will go back to the Shen family tonight. I won't come here anymore, you won't come?" Qing Menjing was a little disappointed. These days, Shen Jingxian accompanied her. She thought it was quite interesting. She didn't expect that she would be alone soon. "Well, I have to go home too. It's not very convenient to go to school here," Shen Jingxian said with a smile. "Well, then when you have nothing to do in the future, come and accompany me more often. Otherwise, I will be bored." Qing Menjing nodded. She knew that what Shen Jingxian said was the truth. If she went to number 1 middle school from here, it was relatively far. Number 2 middle school was relatively close. Yi Xiaoya sat there without saying a word. She ate the food that Xiao Chen served. After eating, she went upstairs. After she left, Shen Jingxian whispered to Qing Menjing that Yi Xiaoya, "Menjing, you should be careful. She doesn't have good intentions. Don't let her have any thoughts about Xiao Chen. You will be the one who suffers." "Ah. What does that have to do with me?" Qing Menjing was stunned. She couldn't help but smile. "If Xiao Chen is willing, he can go. I don't want to resume the engagement with him. Now I have a reason to refuse." Shen Jingxian shook her head. She felt that Qing Menjing did not mean what she said. When she really knew the truth, she would not think so. After the meal, Shen Jingxian called a taxi and went to number 1 middle school. Xiao Chen drove Qing Menjing to school in his Land Rover. "Xiao Chen," Qing Menjing said. Xiao Chen glanced at Qing Menjing. "Nothing." Qing Menjing hesitated and didn't know what to say. "Miss Qing, what do you want to say?" Xiao couldn't help but smile bitterly. This Wednesday, I heard that Tang Tang and Yu Xiaochuan are engaged. Qing Menjing thought about it and decided to tell the news to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's hand holding the steering wheel slightly trembled. Although he knew that Yu Xiaochuan's sexual orientation had a problem, he was still a little afraid that Yu Xiaochuan would do something to Tang Tang as usual. Engaged, so soon. Xiao Chen didn't expect that Tang Tang, who was selling breakfast in the morning market not long ago, would get married in a blink of an eye. Did you get the invitation? Xiao Chen asked. No, I just got the news. Jingxian told me to tell you. Qing Menjing said, it seems that Jingxian also knows that you like Tang Tang. You should stop pestering her. Her boyfriend is White Fox. Be careful, he can kill you with one finger. Hee hee. Xiao Chen couldn't help but smile. It seemed that Shen Jingxian was still very concerned about him, but Xiao Chen didn't understand Shen Jingshuan's approach. Logically speaking, she should be jealous of the things between him and Tang Tang, but why did it seem that Shen Jingxian took the initiative to help him? She even told me about the engagement? Was she asking me to prepare in advance? What are you laughing at? Don't think so much. Some things can't be changed. You like her, but you don't have a chance. Jingxian and Tang Tang are the same. You should be honest in the future. Qing Menjing said to him. Xiao Chen nodded, I will be honest and guard you. Why are you guarding me? Qing Menjing's face was slightly red. To guard you and be your manservant. Xiao Chen said. Oh. Qing Menjing nodded and didn't say anything. The car came all the way to the number 1 middle school. Just when it stopped in the parking lot, a person rushed out from the side. Looking at his aggressive look, Xiao Chen thought that he was going to kick his car, but after the guy ran over, he just respectfully opened the door for Xiao Chen. Lu Zhenming? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Boss Xiao Chen, good morning. Hello Miss Cheng. Lu Zhenming said eagerly. Qing Menjing's face was inexplicable. What was Lu Zhenming up to again? He was waiting in the parking lot early in the morning. Could he be plotting something? However, Xiao Chen was slightly stunned and understood why he was here. In fact, the reason was very simple. Yesterday, Xiao Chen said that he was the follower of the White Fox. Naturally, Lu Zhenming came to follow him. Well, I am also the follower of the White Fox. He said hello to me and told me about you. You should behave well in the future and stop pursuing Qing Menjing. She was my fiancée. If you pursue my boss's woman, how can I live with my face? Xiao Chen said to Lu Zhenming. Ah, of course, of course. Lu Zhenming nodded quickly. In fact, compared to being able to rely on the White Fox, Qing Menjing was really nothing, so Lu Zhenming agreed directly without any complaints. Okay, you go back first. There is nothing for you to do here. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said. Okay. Lu Zhenming ran to the teaching building. Qing Menjing looked at Xiao Chen with some confusion. When did the White Fox become your boss? Oh, it was when I called yesterday, said Xiao Chen. Qing Menjing couldn't help but frown after listening. You have no ambition. You used to pursue Shen Jingxian. Now that Shen Jingxian has become someone else's girlfriend, you recognize that person as your boss. I really don't know what you are thinking. Aren't I looking for a backer for myself? Otherwise, there will be people who want to deal with me all day long. I can't deal with it, said Xiao Chen. Oh. Qing Menjing didn't say anything more. She just felt a little weird. She and Shen Jingxian were best friends. If she and Xiao Chen resumed their engagement in the future, then Xiao Chen would be Shen Jingshuan's fiancé's underling. This made Qing Menjing feel inferior. Xiao Chen also felt that Qing Menjing was unhappy, but there were some things that couldn't be explained for the time being. At least, the fact that the White Fox was him couldn't be exposed for the time being. He thought that he was already standing in a high position in Songning City, but he didn't expect that Xiao Ens would launch an investigation on him because of Li Shaning's matter. He didn't know if Lang Youxiang's sect would let it go and send people to cause trouble for him. Xiao Chen's guess was right. Lang Youxiang was an outstanding figure in the sect. How could the sect let it go when he was killed during the righteous demonic summit in Songning City? Even if they didn't act rashly on the surface, they had already taken action in secret. On this day, 2 uninvited guests came to the demonic star sect. These 2 people came from Lang Youxiang's sect, the Extreme Ice sect. One was Elder Fong of the Extreme Ice sect, and the other was another outstanding disciple of the Extreme Ice sect, Lang Youxiang's junior. Although he was a junior, his talent and strength weren't any worse than Lang Youxiang's. This person called Shin Yuhan also had the strength of a demonic cultivator at the peak of stage 8 internal force. However, the sect used to publicize itself as Lang Youxiang, and Shin Yuhan rarely appeared in front of others. However, after Lang Youxiang died, the sect began to nurture Shin Yuhan. Intentionally or unintentionally, they would bring him out to gain experience. In the demonic star sect's guest hall, the person who received the 2 elders of the Extreme Ice sect was the deputy sect leader of the demonic star sect, Qi Xiangmei. She was also Yi Xiaoya's master. My friends from the demonic star sect have come from afar. May I know what's the matter? Qi Xiangmei asked straightforwardly. In fact, she had already vaguely guessed what was going on. After all, Lang Youxiang was killed during the righteous demonic summit. How big of a deal was that? The news spread quickly in the demonic star sect, but what puzzled the demonic star sect the most was that they didn't have a disciple called the White Fox. Qi Xiangmei had already contacted Yi Xiaoya and asked her who the White Fox was. Yi Xiaoya also gave her a guess and answer, which put Qi Xiangmei in a dilemma. Chapter 390. This generation of the Devil Star sect is really full of talents. The 2 disciples who participated in the Righteous Demon Summit are both outstanding. Elder Fong said lightly, he killed a disciple of the Extreme Ice sect. He's not simple. I heard that Lang Youxiang took the initiative to challenge him. Qi Xiangmei said. Anger flashed in Elder Fong's eyes. That's right, this was what he was most helpless about. The person who provoked him was Lang Youxiang. If White Fox had challenged him and Lang Youxiang died, they could blame White Fox for being unreasonable and challenging a friend of the devil sect. But now, Lang Youxiang's challenge had failed. The Extreme Ice sect was not in the right. He was not like Li Shanning. At least White Fox had taken the initiative to challenge Li Shanning, but Lang Youxiang had inexplicably challenged a member of the devil sect. Therefore, he could not say anything even if he was killed. Even the devil sect leader of the devil sect alliance would not support the Extreme Ice sect. Elder Fong wanted to find out more about White Fox's status in the Devil Star sect so that he could secretly take revenge in the future. That's true. He was killed because he wasn't skilled enough. But taking a step back, White Fox's attack was actually a bit ruthless. After all, he's from the demonic sect. Don't go overboard when you do things so that we can meet in the future. If he was killed just like that, it really doesn't make sense. What do you mean, Elder Fong? Qi Xiangmei did not answer but asked instead. Deputy sect leader Qi, can you talk to the other disciples of the Devil Star sect that they should show mercy to their friends in the Devil sect when they come out for training and sparring in the future? Don't be so ruthless. Elder Fong said. Sure. Qi Xiangmei nodded. If that was the case, she naturally did not care. As long as the Extreme Ice sect did not request to hand over White Fox, she could agree to it. Good. It seems like Deputy Sect Leader Qi is straightforward. My disciple is a well-known figure in our sect, Qin Yuhan. He has a very good relationship with senior brother Lang Youxiang. Now that Lang Youxiang has been killed, he is very dissatisfied and wants to challenge the expert disciples of the Devil Star sect. Of course, he just wants to vent the dissatisfaction in his heart. Vice Sect Leader Qi, could you arrange this for me? Let's have a competition. Of course, friendship comes first, competition comes second. With both of us watching from the side, there shouldn't be any accidents. Elder Fong slowly revealed the true purpose of his trip. Challenge the Devil Star sex expert disciple? Elder Fong must be joking. Our Devil Star sect is a small sect. How can we have so many outstanding disciples? The outstanding disciples have all gone to participate in the summit and are now outside. Qi Xiangmei said, if you want to challenge them, you have to wait for them to return. That's good too. But don't take too long. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what my disciple can do. Elder Fong said faintly, he originally wanted to look for White Fox. If he looks for Yebiya, then don't blame me. Qi Xiangmei's expression changed slightly. Elder Fong, what do you mean? According to the agreement, all grudges must be settled at the summit. Nothing. Isn't this a competition with your Devil Star sex disciple? It's not a grudge, it's just a simple competition. Elder Fong smiled and said, therefore, Vice Sect Leader Qi, please call your outstanding disciples back as soon as possible. Although he was extremely annoyed, the Devil Star sect was not as big and powerful as the Extreme Ice sect. Therefore, Vice Sect Leader Qi could only endure it and said faintly, all right, I will call them back as soon as possible to accept the challenge. But let them cultivate well. My disciple, Qin Yuhan, is a devil cultivator at the peak of stage 9 inner force. Elder Fong couldn't help but laugh. Qin Yuhan, when the time comes, you have to show mercy. However, fists and feet have no eyes. If you get killed like your senior brother, then it can only be said that your skills are not good enough. Qi Xiangmei listened to Elder Fong's words. How could she not understand what he was implying? What he meant was very simple. He said that his disciple would be beaten to death because his skills were not good enough, but didn't that mean that the Devil Star sex disciples could also be beaten to death? It's better not to kill anyone in a competition. Everyone should restrain themselves, Qi Xiangmei said. If we can restrain ourselves, then Leng Youxiang can't be beaten to death. What do you think, Vice Sect Leader Qi? Isn't that right? Elder Fong said faintly. This. Qi Xiangmei could only groan inwardly. The key problem was that White Fox couldn't be considered a disciple of the Devil Star sect. However, if Junior Sister really taught him the Dark Flame Palm, then he could be considered half a disciple of the Devil Star sect. Qi Xiangmei didn't want him to die. All right, Yuhan, since there's nothing else, let's leave first. Elder Fong stood up and left with Qin Yuhan. He didn't say anything else and didn't give Qi Xiangmei a chance to bargain. Qi Xiangmei felt a headache as she watched them leave. She quickly headed to the place where the sect leader cultivated. Meanwhile, in the Qin family, Qin Huanling had already discussed it with Qin Wuxian. Qin Wuxian supported him in letting his illegitimate son return to the Qin family. However, now that 2 of the 3rd-generation members of the Qin family had died, there was no one to carry on the family. Would he be willing to return? Furthermore, with his current status, would he still care about the identity of the young master of the Qin family? After hesitating for a long time, Qin Huanling didn't know if he should call this number. However, in the end, for the sake of the Qin family, he dialed the number he hadn't dialed in a long time. Xiaoling, it's me, Qin Huanling. Qin Huanling didn't call his illegitimate son. Instead, he chose to call his former woman, Yang Xiaoling. Yang Xiaoling was Qin Huanling's university classmate. The 2 of them got together and lived together for 2 years. They had a son, but Qin Huanling later abandoned Yang Xiaoling for glory and wealth. Yang Xiaoling didn't expect that after so many years, Qin Huanling would call her. All these years, Yang Xiaoling didn't look for another man. In her heart, she still thought about Qin Huanling. However, as time passed, she became more and more disappointed. Especially when she saw that Qin Huanling had already taken the position of vice president of the Warrior Guild, she felt that she would never cross paths with Qin Huanling again in this lifetime. You're looking for me. What's the matter? Yang Xiaoling realized that when Qin Huanling called her, she felt calmer. She didn't know what to say or what to expect. Xiaoling, I've let you down all these years. Chen Huanling made his voice a little sorrowful. Actually, men and women were different. Especially someone of Chen Huanling's status, he had long forgotten about young Xiaoling. If it wasn't for this incident, he might not have thought of her for the rest of his life. Huanling, I understand. You're a member of a large family. You have no freedom in your marriage. Young Xiaoling had always loved Chen Huanling in her heart. She understood the style of these large families, so she had no regrets all these years. When Chen Huanling heard young Xiaoling's words and saw that there was a way, he immediately rejoiced. Xiaoling, you also know that for some reason, the third generation of the Chen family passed away. I talked to my father a few times, and he finally agreed to let you and Xiao Tan come back. I will also give you the status of a co-wife, so if you still love me, come back. I will use the rest of my life to make it up to you and your mother. Really? Young Xiaoling was a little happy. Really? Chen Huanling nodded. Then. Let me think about it. I'll ask Xiao Tan again. Although young Xiaoling was happy, she was used to being alone all these years. Most importantly, she cared about Chen Huanling, but she also cared about her son. Okay, then I'll wait for your good news. Chen Huanling quickly said. At night, young Xiaoling's son, who was also Chen Huanling's illegitimate son, Yang Tan, returned home. Seeing that his mother was very happy, he couldn't help but be a little puzzled. Mom, what's wrong with you today? Why do you seem so happy? Xiao Tan, today. Your father called me. Young Xiaoling said. My father? Don't mention that person. Yang Tan's face suddenly became gloomy. What did he say to you? Xiao Tan, don't be like this. Your father also has his own difficulties. Moreover, he called this time to pick us up and return to the Chen family. Young Xiaoling said. Return? Yang Tan couldn't help but sneer. His son and nephew are both dead, and now he wants me back? Is it because there's no one left in the third generation of the Chen family, and he wants me back? What kind of **T is this? Xiao Tan, even so, this is Mom's chance. Mom wants to go back. Young Xiaoling sighed. This. Yang Tan's eyes flickered a few times. To Songning City? Yeah, isn't the Chen family always in Songning City? Young Xiaoling was slightly taken aback. How about this, Mom, wait for me to talk to Chen Huanling. I want to see how sincere he is, Yang Tan said after thinking about it. Call him father. Don't talk nonsense. Young Xiaoling reminded. Alright, Mom, you don't have to worry about it. Leave it to me. After Yang Tan finished speaking, he turned around and went to do his own things. He couldn't help but sneer at the corner of his mouth. Right now, he really didn't care much about the position of the young master of the Chen family. However, if he had this title and the opportunity to go to Songning City, it would also be a good choice. Before, he didn't have a good reason to go there. Now, it was different. If he was a member of the Chen family, then it would be logical for him to go to Songning City. Songning No. 2 High School. Xiao Chen looked at Song Huawu next to him and felt a little strange. Didn't you come for this summit? Now that the summit is over and it's considered a success, why don't you go back? Why are you still here studying? Chapter 391. There's a new mission from the organization, Song Huawu said. Why do you care about me? I don't care about you. If you want to stay, then stay. Xiao Chen shrugged. Unlike Yi Xiaoya and Hongzhu, there was always some vigilance and estrangement between him and Song Huawu. It might be because they were not familiar with each other. Xiao Chen took out his mobile phone and was about to check the Warrior Guild app to see if anyone had accepted his mission. However, he received an anonymous email on his mobile phone. He didn't know who sent it. Xiao Chen opened it casually. He thought it was an advertisement, but he unexpectedly found a strange sentence. Qing Zhongfan Qing Mingxiang Chao Yuliang. Huh? Xiao Chen looked at the short message in his hand with a strange expression. What did this mean? He frowned and raised his eyebrows slightly. The person who sent the email must know Xiao Chen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent these 3 names. However, what did this mean? Qiao Yuliang had always been targeting him. Did the higher-ups mean that Qing Mingxiang and Qing Zhongfan were the masterminds behind the scenes? However, after thinking about it, this matter should be very secretive. He had investigated for so long without any clues, and Qiao Yuliang had not exposed any additional information. However, this email clearly revealed the relationship between the 3. Although it was only a hint, it was already very obvious. Xiao Chen couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Who was it that wanted to help him? Or could it be that this email was deliberately sent by someone and not the truth? Shen Zhenghao and Shen Huanling had also received anonymous emails before, hinting at something. However, the hinting might not be the truth. Xiao Chen was now a little suspicious of Qing Mingxiang. If Qing Mingxiang was the mastermind, then Qing Mingxiang's first step would be to kill him and his second step would be to get engaged to Xiao Xiao. In the future, Qing Mingxiang would be able to annex the Xiao clan because the Xiao clan had no successor. No wonder when he heard the eldest miss said that Qing Mingxiang and Xiao Xiao were engaged, he had a flash of inspiration and felt that something was wrong. Now he figured out the key point. If Qing Mingxiang was really the mastermind behind the scenes, then he was the biggest beneficiary of this matter. But then again, Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. What did the Qing family see in the Xiao family? The Xiao family was not a business family, and their business level was very limited. Their family's wealth was not rich. When the Xiao family died, even if he annexed the Xiao family, there would not be much wealth. On the other hand, the Qing family had several commercial companies, which made several times more money than the Xiao family. They should not care about the Xiao family at all. The Xiao family's remaining reputation was one of the 9 well-known families. But the Qing family was originally a well-known family, and it was the head of the well-known families. They would not covet such a reputation, because it was impossible for the Qing family to divide half of the family to replace the Xiao family and become another well-known family. It was simply an unnecessary move. Therefore, Xiao Chen fell into doubt. With the identity and status of the Qing family, there was no need to play this kind of conspiracy to annex. It took a lot of effort, and the gain was not proportional to the effort. After exiting the email, Xiao Chen planned to observe for a while. He did not believe it directly, nor did he doubt it. Instead, he wanted to judge with his own eyes. After all, it was much easier to find a target. He just needed to see if they would give the game away. But what made Xiao Chen a little hesitant was whether to talk to the eldest miss or not. After all, it involved the Qing family. If it was really Qing Mingxiang and his son who were behind it, then he could only send them to see Qin Jinping. Xiao Chen was not used to letting those who were a threat to him live in this world. The Qing family had not reached the point where he could ignore it. Xiao Chen no longer put a clown like Qiao Yuliang in his eyes. If he wanted to kill him, he could do it at any time. He was just afraid that if he touched him, it would alert the people behind him. But now it seemed that if he touched Qiao Yuliang, would Qing Mingxiang take the initiative to jump out? It was necessary to design it well. Hong Zhu used to stay in the pharmacy every night, but last night, after discovering the charming Bone's aura, she prepared to temporarily station near the villa to continue sensing this aura. So that morning, Hong Zhu found a daily rental apartment in the villa district. She paid for a week's rent and planned to stay there for a week. However, just as Hong Zhu finished renting the apartment, she received a call from Medicine Master Chen. "Grandpa Chen, are you looking for me?" Hong Zhu asked. "Little Hong Zhu, did the 2 customers I mentioned yesterday go to the pharmacy? Why didn't you call me?" Medicine Master Chen was outside with Hong Yan, so he could not rush back to the pharmacy. The young girl who came to the pharmacy yesterday had asked him for help, so he planned to let Hong Zhu handle it in the store. When the time came, he could use the remote control to ask Hong Zhu to help check on the patient's condition and tell her how to prepare the medicine. However, there was no news until the next morning, which surprised Medicine Master Chen. So, he called Hongzhu to find out what was going on. Ah, they came, but they left again. Hongzhu was a little embarrassed. Yesterday, I had something to do, so I didn't go to the pharmacy. I asked a friend to stay there. I heard that the two people came and left. What? Medicine Master Chen was shocked, and his voice changed. Little Hongzhu, you don't know who they are. They came and left because they couldn't find them. If they go back and criticize our Hong Chamber of Commerce, the impact will be huge. It can't be that serious, right? Hongzhu was stunned. She did not expect the situation to be so serious. Last night, she was not at the store because she had something to do, so she let Xiao Chen look after her for a while. How could she have known that the two people's departure would have a negative impact on the Hong Chamber of Commerce? Sigh, forget it. This is all we can do now. I hope they don't think that our Hong Chamber of Commerce went back on its word. Medicine Master Chen sighed. There was no point in saying anything else. Hongzhu frowned as she held the phone in her hand. At night, Xiao Chen went to Hongzhu's pharmacy to buy medicinal ingredients. The medicinal ingredients from last time had already been used 3 times. They could not be used anymore and had to be replaced with new ones. In the pharmacy, Xiao Chen saw a distressed Hongzhu. From what he remembered, this little demon girl always had a charming smile on her face. She had never looked distressed before. What's wrong, Hongzhu? Did you lose money? Xiao Chen walked in and asked. In any case, the white fox's identity had already been exposed, and Hongzhu knew about it as well, so he did not need to be as secretive as before. In his opinion, Hongzhu was extremely greedy, and he would only have such an expression when he lost money. Don't mention it. The 2 guests yesterday were very important. I didn't see Medicine Master Chen or Medicine Master Lu. I was afraid that they would be dissatisfied and spread unfavorable news about the Hong Chamber of Commerce, Hongzhu said. It's all my fault. I left in a hurry yesterday and didn't explain things to you clearly. Oh, I didn't offend them. Don't worry so much. In Xiao Chen's opinion, he had already cured the girl's master. If she spread any unfavorable news, she would be ungrateful. Forget it. You won't understand even if I tell you. You're here to buy medicine, right? Did the summit delay your training? That's why you haven't come for so many days? Hongzhu asked. Same old thing? Yes, same old. Xiao Chen nodded. It took some time. Ling Youxiang's extreme ice sect has begun to inquire about you. If there's nothing important, don't use White Fox's identity to appear again. Right now, both the Li family and extreme ice sect want to cause trouble for you. Be careful, Hongzhu reminded him. Understood. Xiao Chen nodded. Because he wanted to talk to the young miss at night, Xiao Chen directly bid farewell to Hongzhu and quickly returned to the villa. On the way home, he passed by a farmer's shop and saw that Yi Xiaoya had just bought some groceries. Xiao Chen greeted her. Yi Xiaoya. It's Xiao Chen. Yi Xiaoya saw Xiao Chen and nodded to him. Where did you go? Why didn't you go back with Qing Menjing? Xiao Chen's return alone surprised Yi Xiaoya. Xiao Chen and Qing Menjing went to school together in the morning, but they came back separately at night. This was not the way to avoid people's eyes and ears. I went to buy some herbs. Xiao Chen said. She went back first. Oh, you're still brewing medicine? By the way, if you don't want to keep your formula a secret, I'll take a look at it for you. You can't just eat whatever you want, and you can't cultivate inner strength. Is there something wrong with the formula? Yi Xiaoya asked enthusiastically. No need. The prescription is to strengthen the body. There's nothing special about it. The main thing is cultivation. It can't be rushed. Let's take it slowly. Xiao Chen said vaguely. Seeing that Xiao Chen was unwilling, Yi Xiaoya didn't say anything more. The two returned to the villa together. Yi Xiaoye went to water her herbs in the flower bed at the entrance of the villa, and Xiao Qin took a bag of vegetables and meat to the kitchen to cook. After he finished, Yi Xiaoye also came back. Qing Menjing just finished taking a shower and went downstairs to eat. Hey, I haven't come down yet. Why did you eat first? You don't have any manners at all. Qing Menjing glanced at Yi Xiaoye who was eating, and she was a little unhappy. There are only 3 people in the house. Xiao Qin cooked a meal, and you eat first? Don't you understand the principle of first come, first served? Yi Xiaoye ignored it and ate by herself. You. Qing Menjing was a little angry, but when she thought about it, she couldn't win against Yi Xiaoye every time. She could only give up. She picked up the chopsticks angrily and fought with Yi Xiaoye. She said while fighting, Xiao Qin, in the future, before I come down, you are not allowed to serve the cooked food. Oh, okay. Xiao Qin responded casually. Spineless. Yi Xiaoye was so angry. She thought, this Qing Menjing will find a sense of existence from Xiao Qin. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.